Live tonight, your perception versus reality. This is Architects of Humanity. Like, say what's up to everyone. Mr. X, good to see you. Says, love the thumbnail, man. Thanks, bro. Yeah, that thumbnail actually gives a good description mentally of the scenario of perception over reality, or what reality would actually be. And when you think about that, it's almost unbelievable because people would think that their perception is what reality is. And this is why I constructed it in a way where, in the beginning to the left, the guy sees the blue sky, sun, trees, what you see. And behind that, the experts, the scientists, behind them, the military, and then behind that, the reality. And this continually goes with these veils that a person will be able to see through to perceive more of what reality actually is in relation to what they think it is. Again, this is your perception versus reality. Mr. X, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you, MD. Yeah, I love the thumbnail, but I also love the fact that I don't know. I'm starting to believe that you're a mind reader. I got to be honest with you, because
Really?
it's like the topics I think about, you post. It's just like it's crazy. After all these years, we started out the dating scene, but then here it is, and you're discussing topics that I think about on a regular basis, and it's like, what that? You know what I mean? Is just
Wow.
That's why I've been a big supporter, because yeah, it's maybe we're just thinking the same thoughts about wondering about the same things about reality. Maybe that's what it is. I don't
Yeah,
know. But
thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the support too, man. I
of
appreciate
course,
it.
no, I've always been here to support,
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, there is some type of mental, I'm not sure what it is. You're right, the where thoughts, minds will align,
hmm
kind of like the third mind theory too.
Yeah, and I'm
So,
not like somebody who goes from stream to stream to stream.
mhm.
Because a lot of times they're boring and they're not talking about things I'm interested in. I just don't have any interest. This is the only stream I come on a regular basis. There's one other, but it hasn't been on that long. It has to do with mostly with religious aspects of it. But
Mhm.
no, this is pretty much it for me. This is the only stream I go on, so it's not like I'm a daily. I'm not like lasagna. I go from stream to stream to stream. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, the perception.
hmm
Oh, do you have any thoughts on, they have stuff, anybody can type in the thumbnail titles and they'll get a lot of information from them,
No,
you know?
definitely our perception of reality is not all of reality. That's 100% true. In my belief, I can't prove it, but what we see on a regular basis isn't the whole picture.
Yeah.
Um, I personally, well, my belief system is that when we pass away, we're going to see a much more of the picture that we were not aware of the whole time we were here. And this temporary existence, we're going to see something, oh, this is what was going on. This is how things worked. We're going to see things totally different when let's just say get to the other side or leave this physical realm.
Hmm.
That's my belief.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a deep contemplation of where we're going
Yeah.
and what we perceive. I think it's more than a belief because we can kind of explain it by what we thought we knew to be true, and now we see it's different.
Yes. Do you think it's changed with age? Do you think age and life experience is a big influence on what we perceive?
It is, I want to say yes.
hmm
But then when I look at some people that have had these experiences, and, honestly, some people haven't changed in decades.
That's true. You're right.
So it makes me wonder, is there some other type of catalyst that allows us to perceive more? Because, people, a good example would be people that have voted since they were 18, and they're still 100% in that frame of mind, thinking that, this time we just vote harder.
hmm
And in that aspect, that's why those different categories are so important. Their perception of reality is greater than reality. And other people can see, like, wow, the corruption and the people just continually think that they can vote their way out or it matters. So in some instances, I think people have not changed. Like they just, I don't know what it would take. And others, like for some, it took 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, it was years after. One of the guests we had on here, she said it took him about 10 years after 9/11 for him to realize. And he had a very harsh awakening. I think he's in his 70s, and he just basically just went off the rails after understanding what was going on. And they hit him with that, the moon landing, all of that stuff together. So it really affected him. The Badgering podcast, good to see you, bro. Always a pleasure, man. Cuts one, good to see you, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cuts one, great info. He was really good. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, definitely, man. He brought a lot of good info. Yeah, perception is definitely often considered to be greater and more powerful, and it is. Perception, our perception of reality is more than what reality is. And in saying that, some people might mistakenly think, well, was it greater than reality? It's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's more. It adds on. It's like somebody saying something about a movie, and you say, wait a minute, that wasn't in the movie. You're making that up.
Right.
Just like life, we see that their perception, it acts like a filter, and the
Mm-hmm.
individual's experience, their interpretation and their reaction to the world. Objective reality exists independently, and that is so true. Objective reality is there. Human
Yeah.
decisions, are subjective, often flawed interpretations of that reality. So of the reality we see, our interpretations are just that. They are interpretations of reality.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they can line up, and sometimes, yeah, it's really deep. Uh, yeah, always a pleasure having you, brother. Always, man. Thank you. Conscious Rising, good to see you. She says, I'm fully enjoying diving deep into this channel and past topics. I'm a little afraid that I might become completely black pilled if I'm not careful. Oh, that is so cool, Conscious Rising. You're a cool person. I got to give it to you.
Definitely. Great info. She
Yeah,
contributed.
always great information with her. And
See,
we
the
do
thing
have,
about,
mhm.
oh, sorry. No, I was
Yeah,
just going to say about the metaphysical. I know it's real. I know the spirits are real. But if somebody were to ask me, okay, well, explain it to me. How does these things work? I say, well, I don't really know that. I just know from life experience that they're real, but I'm not no expert on it. That's for sure.
yeah, it's like some things we can't just prove, but when you add up the factors, you
Mm-hmm.
start to say, okay, it's like if you have an item and say at a workplace and you put food in the fridge, let's say a work fridge, and it's coming up missing, you're noticing, you don't have proof, but somebody's stealing it, but you can't prove it.
Right.
But somebody's stealing it. You just don't know who, how it's going missing. Reality is a little bit like that, to say, okay, we see these signs like the lunch missing in the work fridge. We don't know who is doing that, but we see the signs of it. And this is like what you and I see with the design in many types of life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just looking at some of it, it's highly illogical and improbable to think that all of this happened by chance. That
No,
there,
no. And if you look at the science and the evidence that it supports, especially nowadays, and you're open minded and you don't have a bias, then that only proves creation. That's the only logical conclusion you can come to, unless you have a bias where you just don't want to accept it. You know.
well, even, and this is where I think evolution is falls short of it. That even if whatever anybody thinks, it's creation in some way, shape, or form.
That's correct. It is, and it's a miracle too.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Um, the Badgering podcast says, "Yeah, I'm getting ready for bed. I had to get up for work in the morning. I'll be listening. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely.
We found the fake gematria.
L. Ron Hubbard's book, Battlefield Earth.
Oh my goodness, this is a good one. Cuts, cuts is relentless on him, man. Yeah, yeah, the quackery.
And I
Yeah, man.
watched your video again too on the gematria, the fortune teller one.
Mhm.
It was great. It was great. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, he's on that fortune teller. He might as well pull out the crystal ball. He might as well put the crystal ball on top of the table.
And I love the way you put in that video that wait a minute, it's another number. Like he loves every number that comes out. There's a special
Every
thing behind every number, which is so true.
Yeah, it's insane when I think about the way that it's done too. It's like it's ridiculous to a point. I'm
Hmm.
surprised that people don't see through it. I think it's the gambling that prevents it.
Well, remember back in the 80s when we were young, or even in the 70s, there was a lot of people who thought professional wrestling was real. So never forget that uh, a lot of the people out here, man, they're easy prey for these guys. Easy prey. You know, I don't know what to say. As a kid, I kind of started knowing it was fake. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
there's people, adults, who thought it was real for that in that pen time period, and it was completely fake. It was completely fixed.
Yeah,
So if they're susceptible to something as ridiculous as that, these other things aren't that crazy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. No, definitely.
Hmm.
A Pat Drink podcast said he made a song of it. Yeah, just to keep it safe on YouTube with the copyrights. But if you want to put the link into the regular comments, I'll approve it. Because the links don't show up unless you're a mod. I don't think so, unless you want to put at for the channel, and then
Hmm.
it'll bring them to the at channel. But I appreciate that though. Yeah, the yeah, that whole it's sad because again, it preys on like on a person's emotions, and
Yeah.
again, like we were talking about on one of the previous podcasts, how people get hypnotized, the
Hmm.
all forms of coercion, influence. We see that happening. The numbers are, you create that sense of awe, that sense of mystery. And
Yeah.
then it's basically buy my Patreon or buy my course, bro, or
And don't
just,
forget, he'll make you rich. He'll make you
yeah.
rich.
Oh,
Even
forget
though
it.
he's not betting his own stuff. It's like every other get rich quick scam that would spin
Yeah.
out there. You remember the infomercials back in the
Hmm. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
millions of them, and people fell for them.
Yeah. And,
Dave
and
Delgado, Carlton Sheets, all this nonsense.
yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because I knew a guy that read the Carlton Sheets thing and he made money. He
Really?
got up to about 700,000, and he bought a brownstone in Brooklyn, renovated it, sold it, made I think close to 200 grand, and he was doing pretty well. And something happened with his wife and him. She just like had like a nervous breakdown or something. She just went, I don't know, just nuclear.
Hmm.
And he was very good at reading things, and people can apply it. And I wouldn't say Carlton Sheets, at least, and I never looked at the course. I think he paid about 700-800 bucks, but it was just amazing that he learned how to do the real estate things, which it is based in reality. Like that one, I never saw his thing. Was it very scammy?
Well, I never read. I heard about people who got it and it didn't get anywhere. See, what happens is, like I've made money on real estate without taking the course too. You know what I'm saying? I bought property, it went up in value, and I sold. Uh,
Mhm,
a lot of times what these real estate gurus do, because they'll have a big thing where they say you don't need money, you don't need credit, you don't need this, you don't need that, which is not true. You do need that. But what
mhm,
they do is they sell what's called an option to buy a property. So like you'll go to a homeowner and you'll say, I'd like to buy an option to buy a property at the current market price. And it's based on the fact that they'll say yes, and then if the price goes up, you exercise your options,
mhm.
your option contract, just like a stock options. But of
Yeah,
course, in reality, nobody's going to agree to that ever. You know what I'm saying? But that's
yeah,
kind of what the course dictates. Basically, these courses will create scenarios that can be true. Like I could write a book right now on how to make millions of dollars in the stock market. You buy a stock really low at $1. When it goes up to 100, you sell. Okay,
mhm.
that works in theory, but in reality, that's not so. It doesn't really work. You know what I mean? That's easier said than done. So
Yeah,
that's kind of what they do. They just use techniques that you know can work, but in reality, in practice, they just don't work that way.
Yeah.
I heard one guy that get rich dad, poor dad seminar. He said one thing they would do is go to a builder, and if he was building a brand new condos, he'd say, "Hey, look, I'll buy 2 of your condos. You give me one for free." That's what you offer them. But in reality, nobody's going to do that. That's not
Yeah,
how.
that they're gonna look at you like you're nuts.
Yeah, so that's what they do. Basically, that's what a lot of these courses do. They give you these
Yeah.
ways to do things, like that in reality don't work. Just like the gematria, you can do all the numbers you want to, but you're not going to predict the future or the outcome of the game. It's not going to be consistent. You might hit a few, you know what I mean? But that's the same thing if you did it without it. You know what I mean? Just by chance,
Mhm. Yeah.
like a slot
Yeah.
machine. You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The crazy thing is the slot machine, what is real are the anagrams. So
Mm-hmm.
the yeah, Tom Vu.
Yep. I remember Tom Vu.
Oh my goodness.
Buy
Yeah.
my course. If you say no, if everybody tells you no, they're a loser. Don't be like that.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there are some see, and this is the thing. There are some things that could work through the person's tenacity or
mm-hmm.
research or like really just when we look, there's unforeseen factors, but that doesn't mean that it's 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll say, "Oh, well, this is why it works." And when I look at that, I said, "Well, wait a second, it doesn't work. It's a scam."
Yeah.
But yeah, once somebody they use that to, oh yeah, look, this person won, but then they won't take credit for the losses.
Right.
That's the crazy thing because it's very you know yeah, you look at that and you say to yourself like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
this is not something that is set in stone, and it can be used to coerce people, to
Sure.
trick them. Yeah, and we see that a lot. I had one
And
with
when you sign up for some of these courses, you get put on a list, and it's a list that can be sold to other marketers. Oh, you get put on a list once you get involved in get rich quick scams or schemes. Not only do they upsell the courses, but you're on a list, a marketing list for this.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I had one where it was showing some pretty good ones for one of them for the gambling, and just seeing where I had it
Yeah,
saved at.
the gambling is powerful because, like, I got a buddy of mine. He calls me all the time. He's addicted. He can't stop. You know what I mean? He's calmed down because I was able to talk to him and kind of play with his psychology to calm him down as far as blowing all his money because he was going too crazy. But there's heavy duty gambling addicts out here. Heavy duty. They're for real. And they hear something like this. I can win on sports bets. Oh, they're eating it up.
Yeah, yeah, it's really sad because
Hmm.
it plays into many parts of the psyche that allows the person to be put in a state of mind control. Like, and these are the real conspiracy, real truth, real things that are real. Like when we look at the word like the slot machines, right? And this
Hmm.
is in the Secret Words book. Slot machines can be respelled, a perfect anagram, no addition, no subtraction of any of the letters, just rearrangement,
Yep.
and it spells cash,
Lost in me. I
right?
see.
So
Yeah.
you look at that, it's like, how is this even possible? It's as if the language itself is, you know, it,
Hmm.
from within it, cash lost in me. This is like
Almost
some
like it's
serious,
pre-programming you to lose money. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, conspiracy theorists. It spells censorship atrocity.
Wow, that's a good one
So
too.
that is right. Very,
Yeah,
very odd.
because I remember we talked about the slot machine, so I had remembered that when you had mentioned it before in your book. But this one is
Mhm.
a new one, right? It looks like a new one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, these are ones that I've been working on for part two.
Hmm.
Conscious Rising, good to see you.
Good to see you, Conscious.
Yeah,
Sorry.
always a pleasure.
Hey, sorry, I was trying to turn off my speaker again. Hey, I was just gonna be on. I'm just gonna be on here and listen. And when I feel like I have something to say. Is that cool if I just stay and then join when it's good?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sure.
nice to see you guys too. Yeah, I had to like make some food. I'm a little bit like low blood sugar and stuff, and so I'll do that, and then I'll come on when I'm a little bit more, my brain's clearer. Um, Plus, I just was watching. I realized I didn't finish watching one of your streams with like all those people on with Zachary. So I was like, I heard you say some things, so now I'm like self conscious. I'm like, I'm not gonna get on here looking for attention. I'm like, but I'm just very surprised to find a channel where, yeah, there are so many things that like you guys are into that it's kind of like, started to make me feel paranoid. But I'm like, whatever. So you guys are really cool, and yeah, I'll be here, and hopefully, there's things I mean, I want to talk to you guys about a lot of stuff, but I don't want to be greedy with the time. So I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Anytime you want to jump in, it's always a pleasure. It's don't worry, it's not being greedy with the time. It's just being, good conversation. So yeah, anytime you want to jump in.
Cool, because I used to like to gamble, so but not a lot. I haven't done it in years, and but later I want to ask you guys about your birthdays and stuff and like numerology, just for the small amount that I do know about it, and how it's not really applicable, but I mean it's kind of fun. You know what I mean? So I just like check the patterns out and then you let it go, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we probably won't reveal our full birthday, for doxing.
Oh, right.
Safety. Yeah, that's the only thing. But yeah, I appreciate it. It definitely it does have
in the private chat, maybe in private chat.
Yeah, if you want.
Oh, there is one back here, the studio chat. You can do that.
Yeah, you see on the bottom private chat, it says on the right.
Okay.
Should
I feel comfortable with you, MD. You know what I mean? But other people.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could just tell you how to add it yourself, and you can figure it out, and then I could just tell you what the numbers are. But like, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's just fun. I mean, I stopped checking it out like a long time ago, just because it was like it wasn't really showing me anything, and I really didn't think it was going anywhere. It's just kind of fun to see the patterns, just like astrology. But that's about it. But yeah, I'll be back after I eat.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely.
Green Miles says those anagrams are mind-boggling. Thank you, man. Jesus says USA won the ball chasing round. Yes, man. Yeah, there's another one here with conspiracy theorists. And this one, the fact that a conspiracy theorist can be rearranged to spell is another scary topic. And that's like, wow. It's like, okay, so is it telling us that these are scary topics? Because it's literally spelling that out with the same exact letters.
It is.
Right? It's just like, wow. And then the same, if you take the A away, conspiracy theorists spells censorship atrocity. And then, like we were saying, the slot machines, cash flow. I mean, this is just, it goes way beyond chance.
No, there's no way it's a chance. There's no way.
Yeah, very, very far beyond the chance to where somebody would be like, wow, this is, it makes you wonder, what is it exactly? But with most people just stuck in a state of mind control, they're in their comfort zone, like one of the previous streams we did, the comfort zone. Once you're in the middle of your comfort zone, like this picture, they have the video games, the robots being built on the right.
I love the food. I love the food.
yeah, the food's there.
I didn't see that because the last time you showed this, I was on my iPhone, so I couldn't see it clearly. Wow, look at that. They got the Big Mac. They got the
got everything there. T-Raf, brother, thank you for the support, man. Always a pleasure, bro. T-Raf is the man, bro.
Now, you got the robots in the background. What's that about?
The robots being built. So those robots that are being built that we do see, people in their comfort zone watching their television, eating their junk foods aren't concerned with that, because notice the robots are outside of the comfort zone. So they don't, the person doesn't care about anything. The war on the left is outside of the comfort zone. So once they're in their comfort zone, that's the danger of it. CD, good to see you, brother. T-Rap, always, man. Thank you for the support, bro. And censored content, man. Good to see you, man. Yeah, it's a lot of these thumbnails that I created have a secondary purpose and stuff. And even one of the ones we did talking about how if you're like the pencil and everybody else seems to be an eraser, the white picket fence with the home and the flag military the scene. The military is clearly behind the scene of everything. This is why the thumbnail today, we had the military behind one of the veils to say, okay, they do exist. I mean, this is seriously more and more we look at it like a military experiment in a way. And it comes from not seeing that, comes from our filter, the knowledge filter, our primary filter, what they
Do you,
would call, yeah.
do you think the data centers could also be outside the comfort zone? The building
Oh,
of.
definitely. Definitely. Nobody wants to think anything that somebody doesn't want to address is outside of the comfort zone.
Hmm.
So the people that are protesting them, which I don't know if the protests will do anything,
No.
um, those people realize that life begins outside of your comfort zone. So they're uncomfortable and they're saying, look, it's not about, see, this is the thing that when people fight against the truth that makes them uncomfortable, it would be wise for them to realize that instead of blaming the truth that makes them uncomfortable, they should look into the lie that made them comfortable. And it's hard to think about that because it requires discomfort and discomfort of the mind. Some people can't take that. Some people can take it of the body. They can be a little chilly. They can shiver. They can endure that without a jacket or a coat for a little bit. Sometimes they can endure it for a while. But of the mind, it's like we are in the great outdoors, breezy, cold weather. I mean, I guess that's another way when they put it, the cold, stark truth.
Mm.
So if you can bear that, if you can say, you know what, I didn't realize this. My perception of reality did not realize this because I wasn't perceiving reality for what it actually was. And we see this with relationships. We see it with people buying food. And and the worst thing is, one thing is not knowing. The other thing is not wanting to know. That's the dangerous one.
I agree. Definitely agree with that.
And people, individual reality, there is subjective truth versus objective fact. And we see that with individual reality. So the people that don't react to the world as it is, but to their perception of it. So that's like somebody believing a situation is dangerous. They react with fear, regardless whether the situation is objectively safe. So we see how this can be programmed into people to think somebody else in another country, it's dangerous, like, oh my goodness, that person. I mean, you look at it, the fear of thinking somebody else is going to grow up and come to attack them. It's a really fear-based scenario we see, and not saying that it couldn't happen. It's just saying we see how it's clearly used to attack innocent people on all fronts. We see it since as far as recorded history, basically.
Yeah. I mean, back in the 50s, everybody was building bomb shelters. Remember that?
Yeah, look at the McCarthyism, witch hunting people, the Salem witch trials too, based on fear and lies. So the individual reality that people, perceive reality to be, it is it is a mind controlling mechanism. They have one of them they call the Rashomon effect. And the Rashomon effect is where different people can witness the same event and have completely contradictory yet personally real interpretations. And that's a deep, deep thing. Anybody, if they look that up, Rashomon.
Man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Rashomon or Rashomon, any way they want to pronounce it. But and we do see that. We see people seeing the same thing and they see different things. And I tried to explain this to Spurgwood, the Stonewood guy that came on, DJ Stonewood or whatever.
Yeah, with the baby avatar.
Yeah, yep. And he couldn't get it. He just didn't want to get it. It's
He
like
didn't want to get it. That's
because he's like, oh, you can come over here and see the same thing that I'm seeing. I'm like, look, we can both look at, and I've said this on the previous stream, anybody can go back and listen to it, where I told him basically, I didn't mention it as the Rashomon effect, but I said, look, two people can look at the same thing and see completely different things, or one person might see something in the same object that the other person doesn't see.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a reality. Psychological drivers, biological drivers, cognitive biases. Human perception is warped by emotions,
Mm-hmm.
experiences we've had, preconceptions, and all of this distorts reality. It's like looking at a reality and your emotions becomes like you're looking at reality through a glass, and your emotions, they make that glass foggy, to where if you've ever seen in certain weather the glass gets foggy and you have to rub a part of it, especially when driving in certain weather. The windshield wipers can be used. Sometimes the glass will still fog up. You can put the defrosters on and it's still kind of foggy because the weather is so humid and raining. And sometimes you'll have to use like a cloth to wipe the inside of the glass to see clearly. And then the glass will clog up again. Those are like a representation of what could be looked at as our emotions, clouding our judgment, fogging the glass of reality. And then when we calm down, we start to see it clearly, like looking at water, and you can see through to the bottom of say, a shallow river or lake that's only a couple of feet deep at the shore. But if you drop something in the water and it ripples the top of it, now that disturbance, you can't see through to the bottom like you just were seeing when the water was still. And that ripple can be representation of emotions as well, that you have to stay calm and let the water settle. Now you can get a clear picture of what reality actually is. And this is reality. T-Ref, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Always, man. I appreciate it. T-Ref says, I've been watching since your first videos about the roaches, Frankenstein in the car. Learned a lot from you and have enjoyed your content ever since. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that, man. Thanks, man.
No, that was a good point you made about emotions, because good salesmen know when they're dealing with a client, they want to get them emotional, because emotional people make, rash decisions. Just like, shopping malls, they want you to get you right when you're emotional, and they play on that emotion. Same probably with the casinos, emotional based influence is very effective because people stop thinking rationally. They just think. They think for the moment, they think for that high, and they make wrong decisions. I know every time I get emotional, like in the past, I've always made poor decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
emotions. And the weird thing is that emotions, for the most part, can have us make decisions that we could regret. But there are instances where the emotional response, sometimes it takes us to be pushed into that, to do something that actually worked out for the better. Where we get fed up with something to a point to where we finally leave a relationship, an employment situation, something, to where people say, they quit school, started a business, and then that was, the catalyst that, made them great, that successful, financially independent.
But don't you think there's more bad decisions that are made versus good? Like the good can happen, but it might be just by coincidence and chance, but a lot of times it's poor decisions.
Oh, definitely. I would even say maybe 80-90% decisions that might be regrettable during the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that there is that percentage of things that work out, and sometimes it does take a person to get frustrated enough and act upon that to leave. It's like being in a place where you have your jacket on and it's too warm and you're extremely uncomfortable with the jacket on, and you endure it, and you're saying, man, I can't, this is a lot, and this and that. And until you get to the point where you say, you know what, I'm taking my jacket off. Now you say, wow, you know what? It took me to get angry enough to do that. And whether or not it's allowed, sometimes, they'll say, well, Uh, Somebody might say that you have to wear it. Now I can understand if it's protective gear, but like relationships too, putting up with disrespect. Maybe you've been in a relationship 10, 15, 20 years, and that's one thing that isn't a relationship. It isn't a good relationship when somebody is doing that, and sometimes it takes that emotional catalyst, that thrust. And like you said, it's usually not always, for the majority part, the right way
Yeah.
to look at things. The clear mind lets you see more. The brain interprets this data as so they say, because again,
Hmm.
they try to make things like where it's uniform, and that that can life isn't logical.
No,
Life is emotional,
it is.
and
Human beings, we are
yeah.
emotional.
Mhm. And that's something that's not taken into account as much, because people look at life and they say, oh, I can apply logic to it. Yes, in certain instances, especially with technology. But when it comes to humans, again, they're unpredictable,
Yes.
and that has to be accounted for. Murphy's law says it best. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah.
So if you prevent that, if you try to take every fail-safe mechanism there is, you
Hmm.
ensure being successful in the final product.
Yeah.
And this, like the brain, using models of the world that act as a direct camera of reality. But that camera, just like a regular camera takes a picture of the landscape, it only sees in that spectrum. When you use a thermal camera, now you'll see that, oh, something walked across that area that isn't even there anymore, but I can still
Mm.
see the heat signature of the footprints on the ground that I didn't notice with the previous camera. You have the ultraviolet, you have many different modes. Nighttime, you might not see anything, but then with a camera that has night vision, you start to see a whole different world.
That's right.
So this is where our camera of reality doesn't always see everything. uh, Believing that gives reality perception is reality. If you believe the perception is reality, it definitely creates a false sense
I
of
think they
reality.
call that solipsism, don't they? Based on your senses, what is reality is what you can perceive.
Mhm. Well,
And
yeah, also solipsism, it's also, that's part of it, but the main part of it is saying that nothing else exists in the universe but you.
Mhm.
So everything is created from you. And it could go into, if that's true of the individual and other people have that same experience, then they're basically part of your creation, because everything comes from your mind in
Mhm.
solipsism. And there, if they look at it from their angle, it's only about them. So everything is created um, in direct relation to the person. Nothing else exists.
And that
And that
seems
is,
very egotistical, to be honest with you.
well, it
That,
has an egotistical vibe to it, but there's also, it's pretty deep, because it goes into possibly, if, when you bring in other people saying, well, what about my existence? Well, if it's solipsism on a more than one basis, then we're all sharing a type of dream.
mm,
So now that person, we're part of that person's dream, and they're a part of our dream, part of our solipsism, and they're a part of, we're a part of theirs. So and that's some very deep, when you sit down, imagine sitting down with a group and you have what you need to eat, you have shelter, and even if it's outdoor in a tribal setting and you're thinking about this, these are some very deep concepts about reality.
mhm.
And for some reason, they don't um they don't want us to think about these things. And it just and Badger has a point here. Before creation comes destruction. Think about a volcano. It destroys, but after it provides land, nitrogen, and ground for vegetation. So
Mm.
now creation, right? Now before the volcano explodes, it's not destruction. So it's like it seems that there is a type of cycle creation. Well, kind of like how the Vedic texts talk about the Trimurti. Their trinity is the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. So
Hmm.
Brahma, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva is the destroyer, which in essence, like you said, gives birth to the elements to create again for some reason. So in some instances, it doesn't. This is why we see deserts and stuff like that. But then the more we look at the environment, and this is the basis of the channel, Architects of Humanity, the more we look at everything around us, the land, the sea, the air, the people, the life form, it seems very fabricated. It seems constructed, engineered.
Yes.
And this is something that people, they'll even go into, well, it could be a simulation and all of that. Well, regardless, I mean that could be in a way it could be true, but it could also be a type of cop out. I mean, when you
Yes.
look at just the way stuff is, I mean, this is a fascinating
It
existence.
definitely points to order and design. That's for sure. That it definitely points to. Whether or not it's a simulation is really, I don't know. That's just a personal opinion. There's nothing really pointing to that so much. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I could see why they think that, and I can't dismiss it because, all right, let's just say when you die, you go to some other place
Hmm.
that somebody might consider to be heaven. Could that be like waking up from this simulation? Could that be telling us that, okay, now we're in the next, we're in that state of mind? And then what happens after that? Because,
Well,
yeah. Mhm.
I had my own belief system that we started out in that other realm and then we came here. So I'm a firm believer that when we leave here, it's like we're going back home. It's like, wait a minute, I'm back home, you know? And I have heard other people experience it that way too, but that's my belief system is that when we leave here, it's like, oh, wow, we're back. That
Mhm.
was something. You know what I mean?
Could it be something more than that? And I understand
Hmm.
that's a cozy way of looking at it, and it's possible. But when we look
Cozy? You think?
cozy, like okay, we're
Mhm.
going back home, everything is safe. This is, it could be cozy in the sense of it's comfort, it's going back to the comfort zone because in our mind, because now we're saying, hey, you know what? I know if I look at it logically, I
Hmm.
don't know what it is. And I won't know. So that's like a really cold, stark truth because it's saying, man, I would like it to be we go back home, or you know maybe this is some type of experience that where we came from somewhere to experience this and we're going back to that place. But what about
Hmm.
the frightening thought, or the uncomfortable thought, better said, of going from one grade to another? Like in school, you get comfortable, you get happy in that classroom, in the classroom that you might feel comfortable in, and you don't want to go to the next grade. You don't want to hear the bell ring and go to the next class. You're comfortable where you're at. But that class has ended and you have to go to the next one. There's
Hmm.
nothing else there. And if existence, that's just one scenario. So as we look at that reality uh, changing, we start to say, wow, is it the back and forth, comfortable, uncomfortable, comfortable, uncomfortable, uh, that life is about?
Hmm.
Iam says, order out of chaos. Periods of disorder, crisis, or upheaval can lead to the creation of a new and more stable order. And yeah, that is a very strong possibility. It's even seen to happen.
Hmm.
But also, we see that other things happen. So we see entropy, and that's where a lot of the Vedic texts they get like really almost pessimistic, but very realistic, because they say nothing gets better with time. And as we look at it, it's like nothing does. It really makes you question purpose, existence.
Hmm.
That saying, life's purpose is a life with purpose. You know, the purpose of life is a life with
Right.
purpose.
But if we're just physical entities and that's all we are, then yes, nothing gets better with time. But the fact that we question it means that we have to be something more than just the physical. If all we were the physical, I don't think we'd ever question it or even ponder the idea. We would just go through this existence and turn into dust, you know?
Yeah, well, even the dust, like when somebody says we turn into dust and that's it, they again they fall back into they want to own forever.
Hmm.
And if this we see is not forever, then why would it make sense that the next would be forever? It would possibly be temporary, like this is temporary. So now, if that's temporary, is there any permanence? Is the permanence itself the change? Which we do see that change, the one thing that continually happens that's a constant is change.
Yes.
And these uncomfortable thoughts, this is where a lot of people they don't want to leave the comfort zone of the mind. So we see the physical comfort zone, but then you have that comfort zone of the mind. And that is based clearly on perception of reality. If we
Hmm.
can sit there and say, okay, how do I perceive reality right now? And what about that current perception could I not be seeing? And I think that's what attracts people to the conspiracy theorist realm, where they're like, oh, look at I didn't know, until I thought about it. It doesn't make sense that they went to the moon or that they that what they said about 9/11 is true. You look at it and now that fascination, that breaking out of the comfort zone
Hmm.
by assisted by you wanting to go on the adventure. So now it becomes an adventure that has a little bit of frightening to it, but it's embraced because you're outside of the comfort zone, but you have a vehicle. You have a vehicle of thought where you say, man, like some people will go down the rabbit hole. Now, some can get lost and just get total nutcase city. We see that,
Yeah.
right? See people. But then there's others that track through it carefully and they say, man, this is fascinating. Like when you look at archaeology, you say, wow, they're definitely covering stuff up.
Hmm.
And when people say, well, it, no, they're, like if you look at the people, the minions of the state that try to say everything is correct, what the state says, the jabs, all of that. You say, okay, this person, again, is in a comfort zone created by the state.
Hmm.
And we rather a dangerous freedom than a comfortable slavery. So and this is of the mind now, because we're both in the same environment. And one person is saying, no, no, the government, they wouldn't lie to us.
Right.
And we're saying, you got to be out of your mind. It's like your perception of reality is totally, totally like warped. We're not saying our perception is perfect, but we're saying, hey, can't you see that they're lying to you? And people act on what they think is real.
Hmm.
A wrong perception uh, does lead to poor decisions, while correct perceptions lead to better outcomes, regardless of the objective facts.
That's true.
Yeah, if you had anything on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why, like I say, the thing about our lives, I'm sure we realize that, we get put into situations sometimes that we never planned on. So sometimes we cannot control our life. We can direct it as best as we can, but the reality is we can't control certain situations. We'll end up in situations that we never planned on, didn't want to be in, but we're stuck in them.
Hmm.
And I think that's why having a metaphysical perspective on this earth, on this planet, is so important because I've said this before. It's like you may not perceive what's out there, but your instincts can. And if it perceives something that isn't right, that isn't in your best interest, you'll feel it in your gut, whether it be butterflies or the tension in your abdominal area or maybe in your shoulders. You'll feel a tension. And if you understand that you're more than just the physical, you're a metaphysical being, you can say, you know what? I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what dangers are here. I don't see anything wrong here, but I'm going to trust my gut because I know there's a metaphysical energy out there, and it's trying to communicate with me right now. So I'm going to listen to my gut, and I'm going to go somewhere else. And who knows? That could save your life. That could keep you out of a very poor situation. You know?
Or dangerous. Yeah.
Dangerous. And I've heard this from other people too. Not people I've talked with, other videos I've watched. It's like some situation that was going on. One guy said, I went to the place and something was in my gut telling me something isn't right. There was like a tension in the air. And then, so, of course, a murder happened. So I've heard it from other people too. That they feel a tension when they're in a bad situation. And I didn't know what it was, but I just felt very tense, and it's like, that's your energy. That's a negative energy that your energy is interacting with.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is, I think has a lot to do with the experience of life.
Yeah. Did you ever I'm sure you experienced that many times in your life growing up, in New York and everything.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Brother Ali, bro, thank you for the support, bro. He says, of course, government wouldn't lie to us, would they? You know it, Brother Ali. Topsy Kratz, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Topsy.
Yeah, Conscious, did you have something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I heard you mention DMT, and I did it twice. Well,
Wow.
Only one time did I really, really go far, and it was I have to say, it was like the most humbling and my experience, but it was fascinating, but it was a bit scary, I have to say. Like, some of it was very intimidating, and just because, but like, it's like, you could say, like, yeah, maybe when you go out there after this world, maybe it's not quite so, like, it's kind of like, I like listening to Hostile Hyperborea when you guys were having that conversation after the dreams, discussion. And I've heard this before for some other wise people, like, you go out there and you have to use your, will and your soul energy, and maybe imagination and creativity, and just will for, you're kind of like on your own. You don't just like go to this, like, necessarily like a heavenly place or whatever. Like, you have to kind of like really know. But I don't know where the training really is for that. Maybe, check out, like, I want to check out more about, maybe it's anthroposophy, but I think you said he was onto some other things beyond that. But it was a very intimidating and scary thing, but it's like, but I've had like such a wonderful, there's been so much good in life that it's like, I mean, right, it's gotten really tough at certain times. It's been tough, but it's like, usually things go in like a pendulum. I kind of think, like, they swing back and forth, and until you can get that balance, like that middle way. But like, I don't know. Like, people say, like, oh, this is the only place where things are really tough and there's just really challenging. But then there's other people saying, no, it's the same. There's like duality in every universe and every this and every that. But have you guys ever heard of like that, like, that there's like an overlay, maybe, like, the natural earth that we're supposed to be having here? But there's like, have you guys like discussed or had other people bring into your awareness about like the AI, like how, since time is like, doesn't necessarily be linear. I mean, I've been told by spiritual people that I trust, that AI is like what happened to Mars. Like, when AI gets so advanced, where like certain energies can like enter it, it's kind of like the HAL whatever in 2000 or whatever movie that was, where HAL took over the spaceship. I mean, so it's like AI has destroyed, it basically wants to make everybody a cyborg, and then turn everybody into like, in all life, all natural organic life is like erased. And and things can go that way. But like, what if, like, the darkness that's here on the planet is like, AI from the future coming to visit here, and like, eliminating stuff. But there is a way to like stop it. Like, that's what I heard. There are things, there are, other, super, like, kind of like superheroes. And I'm not talking about MAGA. I'm talking about like on the spiritual level, like whether they're super soldiers or whatever. But like, there's a creation that is like fighting against it, so that there can be like free life. And whatever. But anyway, I wanted to ask you guys about if you had any opinions about AI and how maybe like that's how these people, you know, people that don't seem to have any soul or consciousness or emotion towards like humanity and like and how cruel they can be, like, or do you think that they could be running under AI and could our like world be kind of like caught in like a loop? I had this like idea or like realization that maybe we were caught in an infinity loop, like a figure eight, where we had to figure out how to get out of the figure eight, and like because we're kind of trapped, like somebody put us in a loop of like reincarnation or whatever, but like we can get out of it. But like, and then but recently I heard people talking about it, like I had those thoughts like 25 years ago, but then, you know, somebody in the Q movement was saying something about, they called it breaking eights, and I was like, wow, is that what, like, are they tapping into like what I was tapping into? So anyway, I mean, I'm not going to try to convince anybody about MAGA. I mean, I'm actually listening to you guys so much. I'm like, I don't want to go back to like, I don't want to start going back to like, oh my God, it's all shit. But like, but you know, they do talk about some really, really esoteric. Some of the people over there are like very spiritual, and they're talking about multidimensional stuff. They're talking about time travel. They're talking about all sorts of stuff. But I take it with a grain of salt, and I'm like, well, I don't know if these are the people I should be listening to this type of esoteric stuff from. But you know, I just keep an open mind. But sorry, anything you want to comment on, I will mute, and then you guys.
Can I just ask you, Conscious, real quick? Did you see
Yeah.
any entities when you took your DMT experience?
Yeah. Okay. So I did do it twice. So I think one. God, I can't. It's so weird. Okay. So I saw. I know, or maybe this was the same trip. Okay. So in the beginning, I saw a human, like a woman's like silhouette. It was like I was in Santa Monica, like whatever. I was in Venice or whatever in LA when I took it. But like when I actually I took that third inhale, I went and I was like at the beach. Like I wasn't right on the beach like when I took it, but like and when I was in the vision, like it was like I could see like the ocean, the sand there, then the ocean to the left, and then some mountains in the back, and then like a sun, but it was like not colored normally. And there was like this female figure, but it was like computerized. Like there was a lot of computerized kind of stuff in my but it wasn't natural organic DMT. It was like made by like Grateful Dead, you know, scientists or chemists or whatever, who knows, you know. And you know, I've tried the Acacia organic once, but I didn't really go fully out on that. But like, so I saw this woman's like silhouette, and her body, I could just see the outline of her. It was like her hair was like flying with the wind, but her body had like colors running through it, like rainbow, but it was like computer colors, like my boss had a logo, and it was like, you know, it was like computers were, you know, it was like 1997 or something. So like the computers had like, you know, colors, like not rainbow colors, but kind of like all different colors, like more than just the rainbow colors, but like all like kind of like in some computer like water waves, where like, you know, it was just like it's like a pattern. I mean, I guess I can't explain it right now because I didn't actually. I'm having trouble making my spinach soup, so I'm just eating potatoes and stuff to get by. But I have too much rotten spinach. Like I'm so annoyed. But so yeah, so I saw that, and then but you know, it was like I was like I didn't know who it was, because as soon as I came back, my girlfriend was like, "Did you see anyone? Did you see anyone?" I was like, I saw this woman. She was like, "Who is it? Who is it?" I was like, I don't know if it was like Mother Earth or, you know, some goddess Kali. It wasn't Kali, but like I didn't know who it was. And then so that was the only entity I saw. But one time I did, I wasn't actually doing it fully. I was clearing out this like I was clearing out the apparatus that's like a vaporizer that I was like serving up the organic acacia that I had to other people. So I was just kind of clearing it out, like the vaporizer thing, and I just kind of like cleared out the bowl, and I just took like a tiny puff. I wasn't even like trying to do it, but I had to like put my head down, and actually I started to like trip a little bit. And at that moment I saw, it was like cartoony. I saw like two little green alien heads in between like pillars. It was like, I saw like the column pillars that you see in like Freemasonry or something. It was just like three pillars, and like I guess they were white, I don't know, and then like two like little green like alien heads, and it was like a cartoon. So I was just like, I couldn't take it seriously, and that was it. So that was like for a second. So that's it. That's to answer your question.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. And if you guys have anything to tell me about yours, because did you say you fully did it, Matt?
No, I think Matt.
Well,
maybe.
yeah, Matt. Yeah, I didn't think you did, but I mean.
Oh no, yeah, I haven't done DMT. They were smoking it a couple months ago, but I was like, nah, I just was kind of hesitant.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard you say that, right? So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, only because it it's like I feel like you just like kind
You
of like with
smoked it, right?
cocaine.
You didn't drink the tea?
No, was that the ayahuasca?
Yeah, because
I
that's
tried
DMT
doing
too,
that.
right?
Well, that's a little different. I mean, it's a little bit different of a biochemical or something. I don't know. It's a little bit different chemical makeup, I think. But I tried doing that twice, and I never actually, I didn't do it properly. I didn't realize you were supposed to like get vomit and get sick. I was like at this like because I didn't know really, my friend didn't teach me anything about it. There was like buckets for everyone to throw up, but I had no idea. I was like, I used to go to those Vipassana 10-day silent retreats. You
Mhm.
observe your sensations and you don't react. So instead of me like vomiting, I was just trying to observe, like feeling nauseous and stuff, and just like like whatever I thought I was supposed to do. But meanwhile, nothing ever happened. I just like felt sick for like 3 or 4 hours, and then it wore off. And the other time I didn't take enough or whatever. But just I did smoke it, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because I feel like you can, just like with cocaine, I feel like some spiritual entities can have access to you a little bit. Like I feel like there was some meddling going on with like the DMT and whatever. But my favorite drug of choice used to be like nitrous oxide, like clean nitrous oxide. That I could remember a lot of things that that was my favorite, but and it was insightful. But you can't always remember everything. But
Mhm.
anyway, yeah. So you haven't done. You guys, neither one of you have done it.
I
Okay.
can't even barely handle weed. I got too much issues, so I just
Yeah.
have a drink here and there. But I have too many issues with me. Hallucinogens and me don't mix. They just don't
Yeah.
mix. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, neither. I can't handle it anymore either. I wish I knew now. I mean, I wish I knew back then what I know now, like about like immune systems and women in general. Like it's a little bit harder for them to recover for some certain reasons. But anyway,
Mhm.
so I'll just mute. And if you have anything to say about some of those like AI theories or
No,
whatever.
I agree that entities can inhabit AI. I definitely think that's going to happen. I think there are people having chats with AI, and they might be speaking to an entity. I definitely think they can possess, for sure.
Right.
So that's my belief, of course. I can't prove any of that.
Right. Yeah, I mean one of my one of the teachers that I've been listening to because I've had experience like it's more medical medium, Anthony William. He basically only teaches about food and how you can heal, like why you're sick and what viruses or what heavy metals and poison, whatever is going on with you, and like and how you can heal it, like whatever. And he doesn't really deviate from that, except in the last couple of years he did put out one book that was like a spiritual book to help people like deal with
Hmm.
some like negative entities and stuff, like how to like protect yourself from them and stuff like that. But he like occasionally he'll do like a little podcast, and he talked about that at some point they're basically they're in this race to find, like there's only going to be one AI that's going to win out on all the competition, like the world, like China, America, Russia, whatever. They're all competing, like the different companies are trying to be like the most incredible AI, so that will be like the AI for like the entire system. And
Hmm.
like that AI is the one that's supposedly going to be the host for like, I don't know, like the Antichrist. I mean, he pretty much said that like the AI is like the Antichrist of the Bible. And he actually, I mean, he does these podcasts where he doesn't say things outright. He'll just say, well, what if the book of Revelations was talking about what happened on Mars? Like what if AI was like the thing that like destroyed it, and like, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen here, but it just depends on like what we're doing. But again, I mean, it's like he doesn't really normally talk about that stuff. It's always just about food and how to heal. That's always done for the last 35 years. But during these like times that are coming, there's a lot of like questions that, so much disinformation and misinformation and deception going on. He just, gives us a little bit to like work on spiritually. And, it's helped me because then it's like, it helps me make a little bit better decisions about what I'm seeing with all like the soup of like information out there. But it's not a cult like some people may say it is. It's just like I'm doing it to heal. It's all about food and how to heal my body, not really about the other things. But I do respect him. But he said it's like there's going to be like the big energy Antichrist is going to enter, the one that wins like the AI race of like the planet or whatever. That's going to be like the really the scary thing. But there probably is like demonic stuff that can enter like regular, just smaller AI too. Probably. Okay, so I'll be quiet now. I'm running on adrenaline because I haven't eaten
No,
enough.
you're doing great.
Sorry.
You're doing great.
Sorry.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't look at just the thought of what if there were beings that created machines more powerful than what we see today with AI exponentially and gave it the ability to create using genetics. So, like a machine today, a printer can print out certain body parts, it can print out food. It can print, of course, we see inanimate objects, but we do see it able to print food out if the right material is put into the printer. We see printers, I think it was a scientist in North or South Carolina that patented the printing of certain biological parts, even to the extent of, I think, body parts. People, we'd have to look it up. But of course, that's going to be, further ahead than what they're going to tell us. So just in speculation, I noticed a lot of people they look at it from a ground level point of view of what we've been told to believe. But what if AI, something created this or these machines that could be underground, suboceanic, who knows? But now that's what prints life. That's what creates life. And when there is a cataclysm or some type of natural event that happens that destroys the built structures, kind of like if you accidentally step on an anthill, it gets crushed, and the ants start working again to create it right back to what it was. Termite mound, same thing. They go back into creating it. Anything that we see with insects usually does that. What if that it seems to be that we are being controlled by machines from the whole beginning of recorded history? Like there's a Twilight Zone episode that slightly touches on it. I think it's the man in the cave. And the man goes into this computer that's in the cave, embedded into the rock. And after a cataclysm, the computer is logically telling him, okay, the canned food that's found would not be safe to eat. And then he comes out and tells the people, hey, you know what? I don't recommend we eat that. The old man in the cave, he's saying it's a man in a cave, not a computer. Until eventually it gets revealed later on, and the people rebel and they eat the cans and they all pass, and the old man is still left there. But when we look at AI, when we look at technology, to think that we created that, what we see today, that it hasn't been re-engineered, is an extremely egotistical point of view. Extremely, to think that we created this. So that's the first step, to say that, okay, we don't know where we came from. And all of this stuff that a lot of people, not all, are putting forth is basically based on they know where we came from. So the premise is incorrect right there. So if we can go back and look at that and say, okay, let's begin where we are. We don't know. That's a tough position to work from. It's like being on a floating raft on water that's not stable, and that's where we got to begin. And it's pretty deep. Mr. X, what's your thought on what she was saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was talking about this group that she was getting information from, and I think the only thing that would be a cult is something where they don't allow differentiate different opinions or opinions that go against what they're pushing. That would be a cult, like what we saw with the gematria. Um, yeah, but as far as yeah, I mean, there's different angles to look at. I think the key is to keep an open mind. I'm a believer in the metaphysical. I'm a believer there's a spiritual realm that's in control of this earth, that's messing with us every day. The one thing is, Hollywood, the way it the way it shows, like the movie The Exorcist, of a demonic possession. I think in reality, in the real world, it's far more subtle than that. I think we all could have been possessed at one point or sometime in our lives for like a short period, maybe a couple seconds. I think that can happen to everybody on a regular basis, but it's far more subtle than what Hollywood tries to show you. That's why we're blinded to it. We don't recognize it sometimes.
Okay. I mean, Conscious Rising has a very good point with some of the stuff she brings up, where there is some mysterious stuff going on. There's definitely things that we can't explain. The perception, right, um, is not really because it's merely a subjective interpretation of objective facts. So when just thinking about that, our subjective interpretation of objective facts. That right there is a contemplative phrase that can go on. I mean, it takes some deep thoughts to say, wow, my interpretation is subjective. That's my perception of an objective fact. It's heavily distorted by individual biology, personal history, and my cognitive biases, just like everybody else's. And while reality exists objectively, our perception acts as a flawed filter. So the perception itself, the more I can, like that filter, that say a screen that has very small squares, that's the filter in front of me. That's my perception. My perception has a filter that filters the raw face of reality.
Mm-hmm.
But the bigger the screen holes that I could make, like how a colander has holes bigger than a strainer. It's a type of strainer, but it's not as restrictive as certain a strainer such as a coffee filter, because the coffee filter is tighter to filter out any of the grounds. And we're looking at those grounds as if they were grounds of knowledge. So you're going to have all of those grounds of knowledge stuck in the filter, and you're only going to get the minute amounts coming through. But in something that has a bigger strainer, a bigger holes, not as tightly filtered, more knowledge is going to get through. So as we loosen our perception of reality, we get more knowledge through of what reality is. And that loosening of the filter seems to be the thing that restricts it is the ego. So the ego, like a volume, can be turned high or low. That determines how much of knowledge from reality is filtered through and how much is kept away from us. It's kept away by ourself without anything else. So it's like, wow, our mind can either be the prison or it can be the thing that sets us free. So the sensory limitations,
Yeah,
say humans,
exactly.
yeah,
We are
process.
sensory limited, don't you think, in this 3D realm, just like a shadow is very limited on what he can perceive in the third dimension because of his two-dimensional view.
I mean, that is partially there. It could even be, we're not sure the amount, but yeah, there has to be. But now knowing that we're not seeing everything changes the whole scenario, because now we could say, wait a minute, I'm not seeing everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it lets us know that it's like you're walking down a hallway in the dark and you don't know there's anything there. So that's one scenario. And then the other one is you're walking down the hallway in the dark and you remember, or you just get a feeling like, look, there's some obstacles. Maybe I should take it a little slow so I don't trip.
Right.
That knowledge prevents you from tripping in comparison to not knowing or not thinking. So in other words, thinking, say there's nothing there and it is a clear hallway, but it's dark. Playing it safe, like they say, caution on the side of error is very important. Maga Mike, thank you for the support, bro. He says, Maga Murdoch, my apologies. Because we got Maga Mike too. That's cool. So Maga Murdoch, man, thank you for the support. He says, very intelligent and high IQ stream. I do have to agree how perception is often different than reality. Look at media brainwashing people to hate MAGA. Well, I mean, there is the media part, and it does work on both ends, right? I mean, Mr. X, did you have anything on that?
No, I was just killing a fly. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there is the media that's brainwashing people on many aspects. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt in that, yes, they do have people saying, hey, you know what? These people are people that you shouldn't look at with a serious mindset. Now let's look at what those people, which I don't think all MAGA are in the same group, because if we were to say that, then we would say that the MAGA who have been caught doing very bad things are the same as all the others. And I don't think that's true. I don't, that doesn't seem to be true. So it's not even, it goes beyond my thinking to say, okay, you have guys in MAGA that have been convicted of crimes, many of them. Like you can look it up. There's just, look at the spiritual advisor to the president, Robert Morris. He got 4 years for raping a 12-year-old and got out in 6 months. Now, this is a fact. I don't think all MAGA are doing that, but there are cases that where many of them are. So we do see that. So in that instance, the news isn't pushing people to hate. It's just stating a fact, and the fact is shocking. The fact lies outside of the comfort zone. Now, other things with people that still believe in the illusion, that are saying, hey, you know what? This is going to make what I perceive to be my country. Remember, perceive is the key word, my perception of freedom. Now, is it really freedom? Freedom of speech? Just watch what you say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that really freedom of speech? Now, I understand sometimes the position, it's hard for people to, sometimes people can't accept it, because it's like a bright light when you're sleeping. You cannot open your eyes. You must close your eyes until you adjust to the light. And now, as you adjust to the light, you can open your eyes and see that, oh, it's bright. It's not nighttime anymore. The shock can sometimes trigger you into closing your eyes because you can't take the brightness. It's kind of like jumping in a cold pool. Sometimes the pool is so cold you have to jump back out. Some people sit there and shiver and adjust to it. It's not a fun experience, but it can be done. And it takes discomfort. So the discomfort of what the news is saying, could some of it be true and could some of it be untrue? Absolutely. Absolutely, man. We do see that.
I mean, news is kind of ridiculous. You turn to Fox, they'll be pro-Republican. You turn to CNN, and they hate Trump. You know what I mean? It's just a back and forth propaganda machine, and it's just part of the cult. It's just they want you to be part of Group A or Group B and be loyal to that cult. That's all it comes down to. I'm saying is be part of Group C, which is I'm not going to give my loyalty to any group. I'm going to think independently and look at the evidence. You know, I mean. Love Trump all you want to, but look at what he's done. Look at anything that he's done. Has he made our situation better? Look at the facts. Don't look at the words or the hype. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, and also that there's something behind him. He's
Exactly.
taking orders from something we don't see. MAGA Murdoch says, look at the perception of Black people. He says, we are seen as thugs and criminals by the zombified media and puppets pushing. But the reality is much different. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're 100% right in that. And this is where the perception versus reality, it's perfect with the topic of the stream, because we do see that what they try to push as perception is different from reality. Absolutely, this is happening. The news, it's a brainwashing network. It really is. KB, good to see you, man. He says the body carries the mind. If the body fails, the mind's expression and reactions distort. Science views the brain as the mind's organ. Esoteric thoughts see it as perception and coordination. Yeah, it gets pretty deep. It's the same for the racist. The perception is much different than reality. I have never experienced a white racist, Max. I think you are letting your perception affect your mind on politics. Well, okay, let's see. You have never experienced a white racist, right? Now, is that saying that white racists don't exist? So that's the next thing we have to go into. Is it saying that because you didn't experience it, does it not exist? So that's an important question that we need to be answered to go further. The body carries the mind. Okay. So I think this is the same as the other one. Yeah. Samuel, what's up, bro? It says Donald Trump doesn't care about black people. Kanye West. Did he?
Jeez.
He did, or I thought he said that
No,
about
he was
Bush.
pro-Trump, wasn't he? Wasn't he pro-Trump?
Yeah, it was Bush. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was Bush when he came out during
Yeah, that's
Katrina.
right. The Katrina. That's
And
right.
now look at Katrina. I think Katrina and a lot of hurricanes, in my opinion, are government orchestrated. I think we've had
Well, remember
weather
in Katrina,
control.
the levees could have been placed.
Yes, and well, they said that they purposely broke the levees to flood black areas as opposed to the richer areas. And then they went around taking the weapons of rich people, allowing them, or middle class people, allowing them to stay in their homes without their weapons. I
Hmm.
mean, when you look at and Katrina, the name Katrina, if you look it up, means clarification. It means purification.
Wow.
So to purify something, to cleanse. And it's like, wow. So what was it really cleansing? You know, it's. I don't think when you look at what the government. Oh, conscious. You had some.
Well, I was just to say, and I wanted to add that like Bill Gates and his family who created Planned Parenthood, and Jeffrey Epstein. Those people are very racist. Against black people or whatever. But those people are like super criminals and evil, and who knows if they're even human. But yeah, I mean it. I hope that those people are. I mean, whatever. Jeffrey Epstein's probably still alive, or I mean, he could have been murdered, but to keep him silent. But I really think I think Gates is gonna go down. But whatever, we'll see in the next like year or two. Then we'll find out if if I'm going to be completely black pilled or maybe some things are going to change. But yeah, I really liked MAGA Murdoch. He's a very intelligent man, and I like what he's saying. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of racist white people, and yeah, I'm gonna be
Well,
quiet.
he's saying he's never met any. So that's why I was asking if he puts in. Does that mean they don't exist, or so we can go forward? Topsy Kretz says behind the ostensible government sits enthroned an invisible government. Absolutely, owing no allegiance or acknowledging no responsibility to the people. And then this seems to be seen without, like, we see the signs of it, and this is where it's a high level of thinking to get to this type of understanding. This understanding can be very uncomfortable for people, but it seems to actually exist. That is so true in a way. I would say, look, somebody has to disprove that before they can disprove it. That's actually a very like high level of looking at it. Um, Only have to prop a few fake immoral personalities, knowing at least a few of the children, full grown adults watching, will try to emulate repeat rhetoric. Absolutely, yeah. Those systems are set up, even best case, to flood out lower areas, which are also set up for the poor. Yeah, yeah, man. And the rich do build always, yeah, uphill. Jen, what's up? Good to see you. Lexus, good to see you, man. He says these hurricanes and tornadoes only seem to destroy low income areas. You never seen these disasters destroy rich areas. The Hawaii fires are an example as well. Yeah, the Hawaii fires are just, I mean, that's like some brutal reality that a lot of people don't want to accept.
Palisades is one exception though. Pacific Palisades in LA.
Oh, that's what they're attacking now?
Well, they burned down the entire city or town last year. Like there's really like a few houses left. It was a big, really rich enclave right near Malibu.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's crazy. So they're basically like just clearing areas out for the rich.
Yeah, well, they were already rich there. I think they're clearing them out for smart cities supposed to happen. Yeah.
So are these people rich or middle class?
Yeah, really rich, like multi-million-dollar home. Like, I mean, maybe not, not actors that make 20 million a picture, but I think like multi-millionaires. I mean, I knew a couple of families they were really rich. Yeah.
So then they are hitting the rich. So and that makes sense because money is just a tool that they use to control us.
Right. We weren't the richest of the rich, but they were very rich. I have to say, very rich. But
they were above middle class.
Yeah, way above middle class. Yeah.
So then, and that makes sense. It's that why would this invisible government, like Top Secrets was saying, why would they don't have an allegiance to anybody, not even the
Yeah.
rich?
Yeah, it's not a racial issue, it's a class issue, it's a cabal issue, you know.
And it
It's our
can
tax
even,
dollars getting them rich.
the scary thing is it can go beyond a class issue and just be a human issue.
Hmm.
Why would a human pollute the environment it needs to live? That doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
It's like saying we're on a boat, right? And you're gonna you're gonna make a hole in the boat. And it's like, wait a minute, you're gonna be affected by that hole too. The boat's gonna sink, right?
Hmm.
So how much sense? It's either you're insane, you don't know what you're doing, or you're a plant that's meant to destroy both of us, or it's another agenda. The bottom line is the all commonality of that is that it's something that doesn't benefit us.
Hmm.
I think the natives had said it. Everyone benefits from a clean river. So if we all benefit from a clean river, it's insanity to pollute the river. How do you get somebody to accept pollution in a river? You make a law. And this is why laws are much more dangerous. They are malicious. Morality. Like people who don't think will say, well, what are you saying? We don't need laws? No, we don't. We need morality.
Yeah.
Morality, it doesn't allow the river to be polluted. And this is what the natives went to war for. This is what all native tribes go to war for. They're like, listen, whatever problem we have with each other, let's not involve nature. And that's exactly what this entity did. I mean, killing off the bison just to starve out people that you have a conflict with is horrible.
It is.
I mean, you wonder what does that do to the ecosystem? So, in other words, that person or that entity thinks they're above the ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, it proves too, this government, which is the most wealthy, the most technologically advanced, doesn't give a damn about the people because there's no excuse to have polluted waters here in the United States. They have the ability to keep these rivers clean and to figure something out with these companies to not pollute. I mean, there's ways around it. They don't want to do it, it seems like.
Hmm.
I think it's AI or like they're extraterrestrials, like in They Live, because there's no way. Yeah, it's like they're poisoning everybody and them. Like they're probably, yeah, like probably more AI or whatever. Because like it's ridiculous. And Medical Medium talks about that. Like he does special podcasts and he talks about chemtrails. He says they've been dumping them in the air since the 60s, and it's basically, I mean, there's a lot of programs in the air now with the geoengineering and the weather manipulation and stuff, and like, and also like Project Bluebeam to create like a screen so they can do these like fake alien stuff or whatever in the sky, like putting like flashing lights on the clouds and stuff like that, doing that kind of stuff. But he says like since the 60s when they stopped dumping, they were prevented from dumping chemicals on the land or in the water. They just started to spray them in the air evenly over the entire globe.
Mm.
And it's basically byproduct waste, like when you're making bleach or you're making this chemical or that chemical, you're just like they have byproducts, like waste byproducts, and they've just been dumping them in the air so that like, you know, everybody will get a little bit sicker. But you know, he calls it death by a thousand cuts. He gives us like all the ways that they basically try to weaken us in every like level with the, you already know a lot of it, like with the food and the water and everything. But like he talks about like many levels, but he also gives like solutions. Like his new brain book, it's called The Brain Saver. He talks about like, you know, he has these little formulas, like these little juice shots where you could do like, it's like 4 to 6 or 8 ingredients where you juice these juice shots, and they're for specific things like chemtrail exposure shot. I use it because I've been exposed to a lot of gasoline, but like if my head gets really thick and like I can't think straight because of the gasoline I've been exposed to, I'll take the chemtrail exposure shot and my brain clears up and I'm like completely like 100% better. You know, like, I mean, there is a lot of solutions in his information, but like he's been informing people about, you know, he's only been writing books for 10 years, but anyway, just so you know, like, yeah, it's like I don't think they're human because why are they polluting everything? I mean, the Georgia Guidestones, like, 500 million people. They want, they wanted like 13 out of 14 people dead or something. But yeah.
Yeah. This juice shot, is it from herbs, all natural?
Yeah, like, and you can Google all of his information is for free. Is if you just type in any search engine, you like put medical medium, and then you type in like chemtrail exposure shot. Yeah, they're like, I had memorized that one. Like the chemtrail exposure shot is wild blueberry. You don't really want to use regular blueberries. Regular blueberries are good, but wild blueberries have this, like, wild foods that they don't use they don't use pesticides or
Yeah.
anything on it because they don't need it. They're such a powerful superfood, and, like, you can burn down all the blueberries, but they'll come back. Glaciers, nothing can kill wild blueberries. So it's like
Mhm.
one of the most powerful foods on the planet. So you can get it cheap, like, a lot of the grocery stores will sell frozen, like their store brand. It's like pretty cheap. But so it's like wild blueberries, lemon, lemon, wild blueberries, kale, green onion. I use green onion sometimes, but chives is supposed to be chives. Like, I mean, the measurements, like, it's like I make like 4 shots at a time and I freeze some, but it's to make 4 shots, you do like a full lemon, 4 tablespoons of wild blueberries, you do a cup of kale, a cup of tightly packed scallions or chives or green onions, and 2 cups of cilantro, and 1 cup of Brussels sprouts, 1 cup of asparagus, and 2 celery stalks. That's for 4 shots. So you, like, it's you can't just do 1 shot at a time. You make 4 times. You can take double shots or triple shots if you want at a time. I take double or triple shots at a time just to help clear me out because I'm exposed to a lot of stuff right now.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he's got like 30 different shots that you can actually and it sounds like kooky to anybody who's like not into health or who doesn't have any issues. You'd be like, oh my god, that sounds like so stupid. But when you actually if you have chemical sensitivities, you have toxic
Yeah.
fragrance exposure shot, it's amazing. This stuff clears you out. If you need it, it really, really helps. So
Yeah.
then you can Google any of those. You can just do the whole, you say medical medium brain shots, and they'll give you the whole list of 30 of them, and you can choose whichever ones you want.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, okay.
The chemtrail patent that we did a stream on a couple of months ago was filed in 1917 and granted in 1920. And this was for fog and mist generators to be mounted on aircraft. When you look back at that, 1920, I mean, that is like, that's
Yeah,
over.
that's right. That's for weather manipulation. That wasn't for like dumping chemicals. That, I mean,
Well, think about it. It's a generator, so it can be used for either. So see, that's the thing. It's a device. Like, say, when you look at the patent, I showed it. I don't remember the number, but it's on one of the old streams. The patent number and everything is saying, okay, this is a machine. It can disperse anything you need to disperse in a mist or fog generation form. So whether it be pathogens, biological, chemicals, which are not biological, pollution of some sort, it can all be dispersed through these type of devices. Now, this is a crude one from the 20s, but of course they increased. And by the 50s, I used to show a chemtrail video on some of the old streams where you would see they had like animated, roughly animated movies about this in the 50s on how they could control a population with it. And this is from the 50s, this is 70 something years ago. This is crazy.
Wait, there's films that we can watch about how they said that they could control people with
Yeah.
it.
Well, they can control populations and areas. It was I forgot the name. I think I have it saved somewhere. It's like maybe a 5 to 7 minute clip, but these are like instructional videos to a point to where they would say like military manuals. Okay, this is how, because remember the patent is out in the 20s, and by the 50s, 30 years later, Disney actually talked about this. Walt Disney, when he was alive, about the fact that they have that. Now you go to 10, 15 years after that, you got Lyndon B. Johnson, the president that took over after Kennedy was assassinated. And he is quoted in saying, whoever controls the weather controls the world. So this weather control isn't far-fetched. It seems to be a documented reality. And again, it takes people out of their comfort zone.
Is this all in your? You have a whole episode on this. Will it include all that information in that episode of yours?
Yeah, it will have the. I don't remember which episode exactly, but there was a few episodes I played it on.
Okay.
I
So
hope.
you don't have one called chemtrails. You don't have like in your subject line of your website.
Yeah, like you can't. Yeah, you can't really put that in the title, you know.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you know,
right.
so it's like I forgot the name of what we did and like how we're talking about perception versus reality. It was in one of those, and it was presented in that way. So it was like it won't be labeled that. I'll see if I can look for it. It might even be on like a lot of the stuff I put on the members thing, just for the older stuff. That was when it was American Zombie, because it dealt with these topics. Top secrets HARP, yeah, high altitude air research program. I think that's what it stands for. And this is when you see those squiggly lines in the clouds, which is when they have the trails and they say that they hit it with the radio waves in the ionosphere, and that makes that wavy pattern. It looks like like how sand can have like waves on it from the water ripples after it pulls back. Azroon, good to see you, man. Yeah, if you want to hop on, you know, Azroon, what's up, man? Anything on your mind, brother?
Yeah, you're talking about perception, OMD. So, that topic was pretty interesting. So I thought I'll jump in for some time and listen to it, MD.
Okay. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, man. He says, at what level do people start to really know what's going on? For example, did normal FBI agents know the 2001 attacks were staged or just top agents? I would say there were some. There were one of them from allegedly is said to have been making waves previous, not about 9/11, but just a rogue agent that asked too many questions. And I think he was transferred to the World Trade Center like not too long before it happened. So there was definitely people that knew. And I would say that would be top agents, like you're saying, that had the power to transfer the lower agents there that ask questions. And of course, there are some that are fully clueless. They don't care. It's like they're the ones that say their country right or wrong. So they're not in the business of truth. You know, Christopher, good to see you. No gun, bombs, or invasions. Just send an earthquake or tornado. Exactly. Exactly, bro. And yeah, the top agents, I would say definitely, man. Definitely. More than that, politicians, when you look at Bush's face when he talks about the stuff, it says a lot. It really does, man. It's an unnerving reality. But yeah, it definitely, I'm not sure what level people do start to really know what's going on. I mean, some people, there is a threshold that they reach that they can't take it anymore. They're like, look, this is just the corruption is just ridiculous. And that could be the point for some. Others will stay zombified forever. We already see that. It's very, very, it's a tough situation because not everybody has the same level of awakening of what actually will cause them, what will be the catalyst, the moment, the situation, or the environment that they're put in. Asroon?
Yeah, MD, like there was this CIA officer called Michael Schur. He was the one who was in charge of hunting Osama bin Laden. He has read everything that the jihadis have written about their struggle against the US, the government actually, and their NATO allies. He said that you're fighting an enemy that does not exist. The politicians keep lying and saying that the jihadis are against the freedoms of Americans. They don't like women in the workplace. They don't don't like them because they drink alcohol and because of the degenerate lifestyle. But Osama bin Laden, he used to clearly say that it's not any of that. He said that you're constantly interfering in the affairs of the Middle East, and you're only fighting for oil. Actually, you're making a mess of things. Your unrelentless support towards Israel is why we are attacking against you. When you say that we are against your freedoms, you're fighting against an enemy that doesn't exist. So every politician till now has lied, MD, actually, regarding this. No one has the courage to say that their support for tyranny in the Middle East has actually caused all these problems. That's what he said, actually. The person, his name is Michael Schur. He's written many books as well. He said that there were many opportunities to kill Osama bin Laden, but the people refused to do it in the beginning, actually. When he was in talks with some important officials in Abu Dhabi, from Abu Dhabi, Clinton could have killed him that time, but he refused to do it, actually.
Well, this is the soap opera that we're told to believe. So it's like,
Yeah.
think about it. It's like a movie. It's like a soap opera. It's like, you know, nobody like is going to bother America. You know, America is the Praetorian Guard for the New World Order. Matter of fact, John Stockwell, who I think worked for the CIA, wrote a book called The Praetorian Guard, America's Role in the New World Order. And all of this stuff that you're seeing, if it's on the news, it's an advertisement for you to believe it. Why? Military strategy, you will never, ever reveal your true plan. It's like, it's military strategy 101. You're never going to tell somebody the truth. It's like you being a merchant, right? And you have your items in the store. How realistically you would see the insanity of it? How realistic would it be for a merchant to put the actual prices he pays for the item, and then next to that price, what he's charging you? So you're going in there to buy some bread, and the bread, he says he pays $2, but you got to pay $5.99. There's going to be a problem. You're going to want it for $4.99 or $3.99 or $2. You're going to argue about why it's so much. So to prevent that, you don't tell the person what you paid, because the strategy, what you want is somebody to buy the food so you can make a profit, and that's how you live. And the key is to give it to them at a fair enough price to where it's not over exorbitant, but it's at a something that's affordable. And this is military strategy takes this to the next level, because now you're trying to take the person over. Why would you ever, like, if anything, all of these things are disinformation. And then when you think about it, it's like, okay, so the same people that have lied to us, told us India didn't create its own country, that the greatness had to come from some type of Aryan invasion, the whole lie with that. Magically, these same liars all of a sudden just decided, hey, you know what? We're going to start telling you the truth. You see how that doesn't make sense, right?
Because MD, they said that the Aryan invasion came from Central Asia. But if you go to Central Asia and see, they have Mongoloid features. So Aryans were actually tall, fair, and they had European features. So if Central Asia, we don't
know what Aryans, right? Isn't a description of what somebody looks like, right?
It means someone who is noble.
Oh, okay. So now, if it means someone who's noble, that is not a physical description.
Correct.
Exactly. So the propaganda is to say, well, they looked this. No, there is no look. There is an action. So that means somebody who doesn't look European or does, and there is no look European, because a Russian looks different from an Italian, and Italian looks very different from an Irishman. I mean, these are dramatically different looking people. Just the way you have people from Cameroon that look different from somebody from Zimbabwe in comparison to somebody from Egypt. So this is where it's easy to fall into the comfort of not thinking and just accepting what we're being told, which in some instances can be true. But
Yeah.
if we don't say, well, wait a second, why all of a sudden are you telling me the truth? You've lied to me the whole time.
Yeah.
There's videos on YouTube that people can look up, excellent videos from gurus, white gurus, that show the lie of the Aryan invasion getting exposed, saying, look, this was totally unscientific. And it just, when I look at these guys, I'm not sure. Like, one thing I know for sure is that they don't know the truth. They might be giving me a little insight into what was going on or whatever, but they really don't know. If it
Yeah.
was something like, you look at somebody that's revealing some serious truth and they get offed. Look at the
Yeah.
two singers, Linkin Park and the other guy from Soundgarden, who tried to
Yeah.
expose the child trafficking. They're
Mm.
dead.
Mhm.
Look at
Yeah.
the lady from Arizona. I don't know if she was an attorney general, and her husband, who said that CPS, Child Protection Services, was kind of like a trafficking organization. They're dead too.
Yeah.
And dead in a way that it made it look uninvestigatable. So, it was a suicide. The husband offs the wife and then off himself. Really? And magically, these people were the ones talking about CPS being a criminal organization instead of an organization that helps people. It breaks up family. It basically, this is what, if you look it up, anybody can see this. Just look up.
That was in Georgia. I think it was Atlanta. Sorry.
Okay. So, all right.
Georgia.
The Atlanta Attorney General, a female. I think she was a female Attorney General. I'm not sure, but I got to look it up again. I saved it somewhere.
Yeah,
The double
when you
suicide.
start-
The double suicide. Her and her husband, right?
Yes,
Her
exactly.
husband,
They said the husband offed her and then offed himself. And you know that that's a lie. See, that's the type of stuff that they'll broadcast. They won't broadcast that, hey, you know what? The laws have been changed to dump more pollution from coal plants into the water. They'll never broadcast that. And that tells you right there. Where did Zachary go, though? Good podcast is nothing without Zach. That is funny, man. Yeah, so when we look at that, it's, again, like somebody that cheats on you, that lies to you, that steals from you, right? And now not just does it once, but does it on a continuous basis, right? Why would you believe them? Why? The only reason to believe them is that your mental thinking is down, your critical thinking has been suspended somehow.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
this is very important to show us that reality, our perception of reality and reality, we know now are two different things. And this is the thing, we can easily forget that. And we do. We go right back into thinking our perception of reality is what reality is. If we walk forward in thought and we say, you know what? I am never going to really understand what reality is. Now I'm aware. So now I'm less likely to make mistakes in the previous state of mind when I think I know everything. It's like the Native Americans say, when you get rid of the bear and the rattlesnake and the cougar, you don't have to be aware anymore, because you don't have to wonder and be careful of where you step, where you walk. So your awareness goes away, because if you don't need it, nature is going to take it. Nature doesn't give you more than you need. But when you have to be aware and say, oh, I have to be, aware, I have to say, okay, let me think forward. I have to plant food. I have to definitely, I even have to predict to say, well, what if there's a weather problem because crops can fail and stuff like that? How are we going to eat? That type of living keeps you very in touch with reality. We have been pacified like cattle, basically. We have been pacified into subservience, and that is sloth. When we say, hey, you know what? Instead of taking care of it of ourselves, let's vote for somebody else to take care of the most important things in our life. That, when you really look at it, is insane.
Yep.
And so now, when we take that to the next level, we would be living in what appears to be a gigantic open air asylum. And now we say, okay, that's just your opinion. Can we test that? Yes, we can test it. Just look at, especially with the internet, look at how people act. People act like they're straight out of the asylum. You asked some people, and this goes for all camps, political, religious, scholastic, you will see people that when you talk to them, when you see their answers, you say, this person is not thinking in a logical, reasonable way. So that means they're illogical, but even more understandable, they're unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And if we keep that, if we say, okay, I'm dealing with that every day, and there's no indication of it getting better, there's only an indication of it getting worse. Now we become where we walk through society aware, like, holy smokes. I am in a world where the water is getting increasingly more polluted, and it's getting polluted not by accident. That's the crazy. That's what they want us to believe. Oh, well, this is because of money and greed. Couldn't be because we're an experiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Could be that. It just, people are just stupid, and they're dumping stuff in the water, and they're not doing it to experiment on us. They're doing it because of greed. Now, greed is a factor, but the experimentation is there. It's like something is behind the glass wall watching us, saying, let's see how they're going to react to this.
Mm-hmm.
And do tests on how much of it is in our bodies. They're finding microplastics in the placenta of newborn babies. So that right there tells you, like, wait a minute. So microplastics in clouds, a Japanese scientist, anybody can look it up. Look up Japanese scientists that have found that claims to find microplastics in clouds, and you'll see a whole new thing. We see Space Monkey. Good to see you, man. He says maybe because you idolize other men.
Oh, geez.
That's what people. I think he's talking to somebody else in the chat.
Okay.
MD, in the Matrix, even Zion was planned by the system architect to have a counterbalance to the slave fake world. Everything is controlled and given to us. Yeah, everything. And this is why I say the environment, everything seems to be fabricated, construction, engineered. It really does. It really does look like that. And now that's my perception. So it's that and more. So that's that's a beautiful thing about reality. It's always what you think it is plus more. Always that addition, like Rayo's number, the highest number they try to say, any number you can think of plus one. And that's another thing too, counting. When you understand the mathematics of counting and you see how, oh, wow, exponentially things increase, and you expand your mind and you say, wow, things change when you take them into a higher order of number or a lesser order. So as you get into the smaller units of time, a microsecond is 1/1,000,000th of a second. A nanosecond is 1/1,000,000th of a second. I think it's I forgot what the trillionth is. I don't know if it's a peta or if that's the quadrillionth. Let me see, what are the magnitudes? And I should know this by heart, but I forget.
And I just want to say that's a good point about those guys who were the whistleblowers about CPS and what was going on with children. Because if you start trying to whistleblow the truth, the real truth of what's going on, you're done.
Oh, yeah, it's over. You talk about the trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
you already know. So that should tell us. That should bring up a red flag. Wow, I could talk about all these other things. So
Mm-hmm.
what are
The
they?
Jesuits, we could say the Jesuits all day and night. Nobody's going to fly.
Oh man, he's ready to jump in and say the Jesuits.
Yeah.
probably lurking somewhere.
You won't even get demonetized for that. Nothing will happen to you.
It just, yeah, the more I think about it, quackery is clearly a plant. He's a gambling plant, and they're happy with that. They're
No,
happy.
the zombies love it. You can't help the zombies. No different than the guys who worship the dating coaches. Some people you just can't help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. They will. They're the people that will make a hole in the boat that they're on, and everybody sinks. And then you wonder. You say, "Wait a minute, but you're sinking too."
Yeah.
And that is the epitome of that's that is the expression of the idiot. That is
Yeah.
somebody saying, "Hey, well, what, you didn't know? You didn't know that I was a flaming idiot?"
Mm-hmm.
It's like, "Oh, you don't? Look here, boom! I mean, just made a hole in the boat that now everybody's going to sink." And it's like, "Well, wait a minute, you're going to sink too." And it's like, "Yeah, but I'm too stupid to know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll realize that in the last seconds when everybody's drowning." The people, other people that are aware, are realizing as soon as he made the hole. And this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a lot of hole makers all around us.
That's right.
Can I ask you a question, Max?
Yeah.
When I was listening, I didn't finish listening to the Sosa interview yet, but he was mentioning how he feels something's changing. Like he was saying, his intuitive whatever, I'm feeling it too. It's not just blind following. Like I feel like there's just an awakening happening on levels, and people are, more consciousness. It's like the politicians aren't really going to do anything, but if the people wake up, like there's so many more of us. Like if we wake up before everyone gets eliminated, before everyone gets too sick and weak, like it is up to us. Like we're going to be the ones that stop it. And but I believe, like you were saying, whatever's broadcast to everybody is not true. It's like a lie, and I agree with that. But the whole Q movement is actually not being broadcast to everyone. Like I have family members that are MAGA people, and they don't know anything about Q, and I have no idea why they like Trump, because it doesn't really make sense on paper, because a lot of the, like, Fox News doesn't really even report on the important stuff. But I know that you probably don't look in to see any positive things that may have been done under that administration, but I happen to just see it because all the Q people are just shoving it in my face or whatever. They're just showing all the things that are happening in like on the regular scene, but no one's really paying attention. Everyone's just doing their jobs, paying attention to their lives or their kids, everything. Like everyone's so busy, distracted on purpose and working hard. But there is a possibility that there are some things happening, and the people at the top aren't going to save us. But if there are some people in high places that have a moral consciousness like we do and our parents did, there's a possibility that there are some good people that felt help us for a long time. Like my dad, if my dad didn't have polio and wasn't crippled in a wheelchair and crutches when he was younger, he would have been in the military. But like he probably would have found maybe some good people that weren't in for like the whole immoral corruption things that are going on in the crime organization around the world. But the New World Order, I mean, the whole Q thing is like they're saying they're fighting against it allegedly. I'm not saying it's true. Like it's very, everything you say is right, and it makes perfect sense. Medical Medium doesn't talk about that there's going to be anybody saving anybody, but like
Conscious, can I ask you something? Conscious?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot that was my name on here. I'm sorry.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but
I forgot my name.
But I hear what you're saying. No, I hear what you're saying. But do you think that they're just going to allow anybody with a conscience or want to do right to control the trillions of dollars of this U.S. government, this economy? That's not going to happen. They're not letting anybody who isn't going to play ball run the show. It's just not. That's not reality.
Right. Well, I mean, the way that they're saying that they're planning it, it's been 40 years in the making, and they've only like brought, the cube, the public, people like me or anybody else, like invited them to like look into like what's going on behind the scenes. Because they said eventually it's going to take the people. It's about like the people not being divided left or right. And like, that's what like Candace Owens and maybe some of the other people are supposed to be there to like bring the left and right together. Because it's not about that. It's like, forget the divide and conquer. We just need to get together and say no more pollution, no more chemicals, no more vaccines, no more no more any of this like bull and we take we get rid of those people. I mean, allegedly they're doing like tribunals and like getting rid of these people for treason, and supposedly, Obama and whatever, John Brennan or something, that, like, what as Varun was talking about, there's a documentary called Feathered Cocaine, and it's about falconry, and Obama, all the different Middle Eastern high, Arab, like big wigs over in the Middle East, they have like their whole social thing is doing falconry together, like hunting and falconry. And this documentary called Feathered Cocaine, and there was this guy, he was a Sikh Indian from America, this white guy, blonde hair, blue eye, and he was a falconer, and he was obsessed with it, and he actually went over there to train birds, and supposedly, yeah, the whole thing that Azram was saying from a different angle, he said the same thing, that there were so many times where they could have taken Osama bin Laden out, not because he was responsible for taking the World Trade Centers, because that's not what happened, but like, whatever, like he was supposed to be taken out, but allegedly there's like the guy, the people that were witnesses to this, they're all like, it's
They're
all
all
like
dead.
no, they're actually taking it all to all this is allegedly coming out. I mean,
Well, a lot of those Navy
JFK,
SEALs died, didn't they, in that helicopter?
6 of them died, and
Supposedly.
that's why a lot of heads are going to roll now, because that's what they're proving. They're actually taking it to court that 6 Navy SEALs died because of Obama. Like, they all knew that they were protecting Osama bin Laden, and they're going to have this big court case coming up soon that like all those lives were lost, and it's going to be proven, the whole Benghazi thing.
Don't you think Osama bin Laden was just manufactured? And here we are, the most sophisticated, most advanced military in the entire world. It's a guy, but it's a guy with a beard in a cave. I mean, I think they're
but
laughing in our face.
he was being moved back and forth from Iran to Pakistan, I think it was. Like, they
Yeah.
knew they were transporting him. Like, he was being protected by our U.S. Like, I mean, supposedly Obama and Mike Brennan, or whatever his name is, John Brennan, are going to be like set for treason and do military tribunal soon, because they were selling the uranium to Iran. And like all this is like, I mean, WikiLeaks had a lot of stuff in it, but there's like a lot more, and supposedly they have everything. But this, this could just be, but I don't even know why they would bother like bringing all these Q people along. Like, it's a very elaborate stuff that they talk about, but it's like, okay, maybe it's all just like show to keep like. But I mean, even if they didn't bring us all along like on this little like drama or whatever that they're like lying to us about, why would they even bother doing it? Like, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway. But they say they're fighting the New World Order. They're like trying to keep America free, and therefore everyone else will be free after. So, there is going to be a big, like, I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's true, but I have like a little bit of hope in me still that there were some good people in high places in the military, supposedly 200 generals, the people that, knew about JFK getting assassinated, JFK Jr. supposedly alive. And what's really weird is that I heard a rumor when I was living in LA 2 years after JFK Jr. died. Some girl, I was in Malibu hanging out with my best friend, and this girl was like friends with his roommate. And this girl comes over named Lily, and she's like, JFK Jr. is living in a trailer up in Malibu in like a mobile home. And I was like, what? I didn't believe her. I was like,
sounds like crazy talk.
That's what I thought. I thought she was crazy, and I never believed her. But now, 25 years later, this whole Q thing, which I dropped out, like, as soon as they started saying JFK was alive, I was like, okay, this is bullshit. And it's when I backed out like 6 years ago. But I'm just saying, like, there's a slight possibility, and we should be hoping for it, but not like planning on it. I'm just saying, I don't even know why they would bother stringing everyone along. Who cares? I mean, maybe they think that a bunch of the rednecks would like take them all out with guns. I don't know. They're trying to actually get the right to carry for everybody. Like, they're at the federal government is basically telling all the states right now that if you try to ban people from the right to carry, you're actually breaking the Constitution. So they're actually the federal government's going to overturn like all the powers of the state, saying you can't tell people they can't carry a weapon because it's unconstitutional. So that's what I'm just saying. Like, there's a little things that are happening that kind of show that maybe there is this thing where, they're trying to dismantle the New World Order, because, it's been going on for thousands of years, but, whatever. I'm not saying, I'm just being hopeful, but I just wanted to put it out there because I don't think anyone in the Black pill community is actually looking into, what, because usually you look into both sides, see what they're saying. But I know that Black pill is like, okay, everyone's lying, which I was there too. But I'm just saying there is a possibility. No one's talking to the public about this. No one's telling my sister and different people that I know about, these background things. Like, if I mentioned to them, they think it was crazy. But I don't know why that they're even bothering with the Q movement if there's no truth to it at all. Just if you guys can tell me some good explanations of why they're even bothering
Could it be just a
stringing all this
distraction? A distraction to lead you down
distraction
a
from
rabbit
what though? Is it
from what was really going on, like what happened to those two really trying to, the two in Georgia who tried to expose a real network, something that's really going on. They got taken out immediately. You're gone. You're out of here. But the Q thing is just like concentrate on this. Don't look this way. Look this way, and it will give you all the deep dark secrets. But
well,
you know,
right? But I don't think they're. I think people are spreading the information like they're. I mean, did you guys read any of the Q posts? Because they're basically exposing all the things that like all the black people know about, all the black pilled people know about. They're like literally talking about every single conspiracy going, and they're gonna like uncover everything. And supposedly they're gonna bring free energy and then trash like oil, coal, and get everybody go on the free technology because allegedly John Trump, the uncle of whatever, what's his name, Donald Trump, his uncle was an MIT NASA guy that was working with time travel with Tesla, and allegedly they went to the future and they brought this quantum computer back to fight like the New World Order and potentially like, I mean, they didn't talk about the negative AI, but who knows? I mean, they could be the negative AI. I don't know. Like I'm keeping my mind open, but I just don't know why they would bother the whole Q movement. If you know what I mean, that's
well,
the only thing. But you're right. I mean, distraction is one. Distraction because all the guys with the guns might turn on them. That would be like probably a big reason. But if there's more that you could tell me about, I'd appreciate
I
it.
mean, guns are not, I'm a Second Amendment believer, and it's important to have, I think, the right to carry and bear arms. But that's because we got evil people in the world. As far as taking over the New World Order or the system, that's not going to happen with guns. I mean, they could wipe us out in 2 seconds. So that's not going to happen. They don't fear a revolution. This isn't the 1800s anymore. That's not going to happen. But yeah,
Right, but supposedly though, since Trump is like the general of the commander of the chief of the army or whatever he's the military, he has the military working for him, and supposedly, they're going to be the ones taking out. Like they're supposedly doing all the stuff behind the scenes because there's so many corrupt people in so many corporations, businesses, like everywhere. They're like so many. Whether they're NPCs, like I don't know what they are, but all these immoral people that are getting in on all these organized crime scams. There's a lot of people and a lot of little people that they're like taking names and they're given information and instead of blackmail they're calling it white mail and everybody's talking and supposedly the guy in was it Colombia? No, Maduro down in Venezuela. He supposedly is talking a lot, but it all could just be yeah, like
is he dead?
espionage.
Well, they say he's dead, right? He's dead.
No, I don't think he's dead. Well, I mean, that's not what I don't watch the regular news and I never have, but like I check in. I haven't checked in with the Q thing, like whatever, because I realize it's like, yeah, it's a distraction. And I just get excited because I just
Oh, the
want.
other guy, Nicholas, the guy they apprehended. I'm getting confused with somebody else. The other guy, Chavez. I got it confused with the
Okay.
revolutionary in Venezuela, and I just got it totally mixed up. Yeah.
Right. And supposedly they're going to go to Cuba and get, whatever, supposedly they went to Mexico and took out all this cartels, all these like organized drug cartels. And, and the thing is, I'm all about immigration. I heard you guys talking about immigration and stuff. I totally agree with you. Everybody's an immigrant. My mom was like, never even became a full citizen. She was a green card from Japan. But like, immigration's fine, but just like do it the legal way. Just like, do it however,
But you know what that was for, though? You know what that was for? It's just to drive down wages. That's it. So I
It
wouldn't
was,
hold
yeah,
my
well, it
breath
was
on
not
that.
just for that, but there's a lot of sex trafficking that goes on when you bring
Oh,
in
that
all sorts
too.
of
Yeah,
illegals.
that
There's
too.
tons of like really nasty stuff that happens with that, so there's a lot of dangers and there's gangs even in like Long Island. There's like,
Of course.
like, yeah, it's
That's
like
why I
there's
believe in the
people.
Second Amendment. You should have the right to defend yourself because they'll just let in anybody. It's not going to affect them. They live in
Right.
protected, gated walls. But for the average person, we're the ones who get affected by this. I'm 100% in agreement with that.
But the
But
immigration could also bring in a lot of like they're not even asking people to have ID to vote, and they're giving everybody in California a mail-in vote they're sending everyone automatically a mail-in vote. You used to have to like ask for it because you're going to be away or out of the country or something. They're giving one to everyone. So like all this immigration, everyone can vote, everyone can sign up and vote, and they just do all these things. Elections have not been fair, and that's what I didn't vote last time, like whatever. But like supposedly there's these like Smartmatic machines that are all like they're like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where you can change your grade online. Like it's like total bullshit, and like that's what they're gonna take out or whatever. But what, it's like I don't even care about that stuff, but in a way it does matter. It's just like the Second Amendment. It's like having elections, like we should be able to choose who the person in the front is, if we're gonna need to have a person in the front. But like immigration is like also to create chaos. There's a lot of chaos happening all around the world, not like, and with there's a lot of trafficking of people. Like there's a lot of trafficking of children and people with like high immigration, just like letting all these people in. And if you look at the all the parades of people walking in, like it's like everybody had cell phones, like they were like it was like these like it was like you guys hear about that Open Society, George Soros, like paying paying for Antifa, paying the KKK, like the Southern Poverty Law Center. I used to donate to them. Like they're totally were collecting money, and they were literally paying hate groups to create like dissension, like kind of like supposedly this whole thing, the January 6th, it was like they were paying people that weren't even part of it to like to look like to really make these like MAGA people look like total whatever. I guess I didn't even hear about the pedophiles and like the sexual abusers and whatever, but I just knew, like I knew that there was infiltration, and like it was kind of an inside job, but of course there were people there that wanted to peacefully protest, and they were like angry because they felt the elections was rigged, but it's like it wasn't necessarily the way it was like put out. But whatever. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Sorry.
Well, think about this, Conscious. For somebody like Robert Morris, not just any spiritual advisor, but the president's spiritual advisor, caught for raping a 12-year-old girl for years until she was 16, only gets 4 years and then gets out in 6 months. You as a woman should be horrified, frightened of that.
Yeah, that is horrible. I'm going to write that down.
All right, now let's add. So someone's so close. That's not by accident. Now, what happened to another one of his spiritual advisors? This guy, he was an amputee. He got busted for child crimes as well. So now you have people from the January 6th insurrection, or whatever they want to call it. There's a good few people. I don't know if it was Jake Lang or whatever, but you can look it up. He's doing life for child crimes. I can go down the list.
Wait, they don't do life for pedophiles, unfortunately. They need to start doing that. You should like kill them, but I don't think there's any. They all get out within a very short period of time, unfortunately.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up Robert Morris because that's really disconcerting, and because supposedly a lot of people that he puts right at in the spotlight is so that they can go down publicly and be humiliated. But like I don't know why he would want his spiritual advisor.
We call them PDFs. We just call them PDFs to keep it
PDFs, right?
PDFs.
Okay, Robert Morris.
Robert Morris, the president's spiritual advisor. So type that in so you know exactly which one it is.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just check this out. The convictions: a Florida handyman from January 6th, right? Andrew Paul Johnson, right? January 6th rioter, is serving life for child crimes. He was found guilty by a jury of 5 charges. Now, if this is true, it says it on Google, allegedly, including molesting a child under 12 and another one under 16, and transmitting harmful electronic materials to a minor. So the life sentence was in March 2006.
Wait, when was this? Wait, what's this guy's name? I'm just gonna have him so I can.
Andrew Paul Johnson.
Andrew Paul Johnson. Okay, sorry. Okay, so he's in there for prison for life because for other reasons too, not just because unfortunately.
I'll read it out. The conviction: he was a Florida handyman, Andrew Paul Johnson, right? Serving a life sentence for child crimes. You can look it up on NBC News 1, You can look it up on a few other sites. Hernando County Circuit Judge handed down a life sentence in March 2026.
Well, that's good. I've never heard of a lifetime sentence for,
Okay, but that's not the point of that. It's good or not. This is somebody the president pardoned. And then his own, so he not only does he's surrounded by what it appears to be PDF files, but magically he's not a PDF file. And then it could, if there was no evidence or anything brought out, like with the pictures everyone can see, what would you think if you saw a 45-year-old man with a 10-year-old girl on his lap, multiple photos, no parents involved, around other men? You would think this guy's a predator. But for some reason, the cognitive dissonance that they put in our minds makes us think that this guy, this is where it's a worshiping syndrome. It becomes Jim Jones. It's like straight Heaven's Gate. The one question that you can ask yourself to see if your thinking is correct is there anything you know of that Trump is guilty of? And if you can't think of anything, then that says it all,
no,
right?
I mean, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure. I was looking at something else.
No, because there's tons of documented stuff, and it's nothing against you. It's saying that you don't want to know that, because if you wanted to, you would have searched for it. The fact that
no, because I know there's a lot of stuff on him, but like I also know that like the whole everybody has been like hating on him since 2016, and at that time they weren't talking about his pastor or whatever. Like that's the worst thing. If they were talking about that from the beginning. I mean, I never watched The Apprentice. I thought he was a loser in the beginning. Like I never paid attention to Donald Trump from New York. I'd be like, who's that guy with the...
Okay, so why then would he be, if he's a loser? Why would he be the person trying to help us? Like
because I learned more about him, and I heard him. I heard him talking real shit. Like real stuff. Like when he was like,
would you trust a guy that has raped a woman? Would you trust him? Convicted of rape, not alleged.
I didn't know he was convicted of rape.
No. Would you just? And the question is,
would I trust the person that was convicted of rape? Well, it's like just because they're convicted doesn't mean.
A lot of people confuse the crime. Clearly, you talk to the woman. The woman is there for testimony, so this happened. She was penetrated forcibly, and this guy. If I knew the woman, I knew she wasn't lying, because I know a lot of women lie, and I know a lot of people lie. Yeah, I mean, but if I knew the woman, yeah, I would not trust that man. You wouldn't trust him, right? Right. Okay, so now why do you trust this guy that has done that, and not just to one woman now?
Because I don't trust the media. Like,
okay. So now what you're telling me, and we're going to a place where we're saying, okay, let's look at this logically. You're telling me, 30 women are wrong, every one of them, and this guy is right.
Well, I saw the onslaught of attacks. Like, I mean, every evil person hates Donald Trump. A lot of regular people that hate him too. But I'm just saying, like from the beginning, there was I've seen, the politicians, people are blaming the world's problems on Trump. He's just one business guy.
No, we're not blaming. This isn't about blaming the problem. This is about whether you're going to trust the guy that had to pay $5 million in damages. Now, those damages, that's a nice way of saying for graping a woman. Jean Carroll, look it up. An advice columnist. And now you got the pastor that I said was doing child crimes, right? She accused Trump of raping her in a Manhattan department store dressing room in the mid-1990s. So this predates the 2015 and all of this. It's just the fact that people don't want to know. So in a 2020 civil trial, the jury found Trump liable of sexual abuse and defamation because he tries to defamate them and say, oh, no, they're lying and all that. I mean, just a horrible, horrible excuse for a human being.
Well, sometimes you pay people off to just shut the whole thing down and be like,
no, you don't pay them off. If you're a billionaire, you don't pay them off if you're right.
No,
They
no,
won. Okay,
people, no,
you could just keep
they
taking.
they do because they just don't,
Oh,
they don't.
all right. So now again, you're rationalizing. You're saying that
Well,
these
I
women.
just know that some people
So,
do
so
that.
all women that accuse men of this, you're right. They could be lying, but the ones that actually get the conviction, it's proven in a court of law that they're not lying. That the guy actually.
No,
did.
but court is very. I mean, the
Oh,
court
okay. So
system.
now, court, and this is what it
Yeah,
comes down to.
well, no, but the
Court is
court system is
wrong.
very corrupt. I mean,
No,
I
no,
know
but
that.
court is corrupt when it doesn't agree with what you wanted. So if a court is corrupt if it convicts Donald Trump of a crime that he did, but it's not
I'm not
corrupt.
saying he's innocent. I'm saying you just can't
Oh,
trust
okay.
it.
So if
You
you're
just
not
can't
saying
trust
he's
it.
innocent, what I'm trying to get at is the mental control that can be caused by a political infection of the mind overrides rational thought. It overrides critical thinking. And
No,
this
I'm just trying to keep an open mind. I'm not saying
no,
either
no, no.
way.
Well, this is what I'm trying to show you when you re-listen to this on how your position is it's indicating that you're not thinking with a fully open mind, that you're being biased, the knowledge filter. Your perception of Trump doesn't match the reality of Trump.
Well,
So,
in the next year or two, I'll find
wait,
out
wait,
if
I'll give
everything
you.
if everything. I'm just leaving it open because like right now
Okay, look.
I won't
All right,
know.
do you?
I
All right,
won't
look
know.
at this one. I'll just give you a couple of three instances. Jean Carroll, so he had to pay her money.
All right, but you know Jeffrey Epstein was trying to take Trump down for the last 20
Well,
years. So
yeah, but we're not
he's
talking about
beside.
Epstein.
No,
You
but
notice
yeah,
how?
but they
You
try
know
to
what this is
sabotage
called?
people.
This
They
is called
sabotage
projection.
people. No,
This
but they
is
try to
called
sabotage
projection.
people that are trying to take him down. You know what I mean? Like
You're projecting. So in other words, these people. All right, if you accuse the guy of that,
Jeffrey Epstein.
no, Trump. If he got you in a department store and he forcibly penetrated you, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody said, "Well, I don't believe you." How would you feel?
It doesn't matter. I mean, that doesn't matter.
No,
if
no,
it's,
no. It's a question directed to you.
Women lie. Unfortunately, I've
Oh,
come.
no,
to
no.
that.
I'm not saying. I'm not talking
it's
about
hard for
women
me to
lying.
believe,
I'm
but-
talking about you telling the truth, and people, and the guy getting convicted. So you're saying, wait a second, this guy did that.
I already know what it's like to not be believed. I mean, my family. If I'm chemical sensitive, they
No,
don't even
I'm not
believe.
asking about not
Well,
being believed by your family. I'm asking
Yeah, but
you
I
about
mean,
a specific incident.
Yeah, but people don't believe things if they don't have an experience and they don't have the compassion. They can't put themselves in your shoes. It's like it happens all the time. It's like if I said somebody raped me and not everyone believes me, like that's just the way it is. I mean, people have to accept that.
Okay, now take it to the next level because you forgot to add in what I said. You go to court and he gets convicted. So it's not a matter of belief anymore.
Well, that's
now
a matter of belief. You're believing in the courts. The court system is very corrupt.
I'm not talking about somebody else. I'm talking about you. So you're not lying. And the court is giving actually a factual ruling to say, okay, yes, this woman has proof. It was on camera. How about that? How about there was a camera in the dressing room and it recorded it? So the lady, it's not even you. The lady's not lying. He gets convicted. So now the courts are still corrupt on that or something?
Well, they're not. No, they're not always. They're not always.
But they're only corrupt.
Why did
if it's against Donald Trump? Then it's corrupt, right?
I'm not. No, I'm just saying. I just don't. I can't believe.
All right. What about Robert Morris? Would you trust? Do you have children?
No. I'm gonna look into Robert Morris.
Okay. Look. If you're 12, you think it's safe for your father to trust you around Robert Morris? Oh, he's the president's spiritual advisor. So
no, my dad. No.
So 4 years he's been graping this 12-year-old. And he only got, and out of those 4 years, he only got 4 years imprisonment and only did 6 months because Trump. This is what I'm saying. You got this guy. It's so much instances of followers, of people in his cabinet. Everybody's a billionaire in his cabinet. You don't find that to be a little bit like concerning?
Right. Well, and actually, I worked on this private jet, and one of the billionaires.
No, I'm saying, don't you find that to be concerning? Like billionaires, You think they have your best interest at heart?
No, because I mean, I worked for a couple billionaires and I left the job there because I was like, I don't want to serve these people. I mean, I don't think they care about anybody. So
Okay,
I
so
actually,
that
and one of
includes
them is
Trump. So
working.
that includes
One of them
Trump
is
too, then.
working. One of them is working with Trump now, and I'm actually waiting to find out if he's going to get dropped, because the thing is, usually they put people in high places in the front, and then they see them fall because because they know everybody hates Trump, so they put people on stage just so that everybody looks into them, and then they get taken down. And like Trump is in a way kind of sacrificing himself because everyone's gonna be like, look at, he's associated with them, but he actually, supposedly, this is what all these Q people are saying, he brings these people on stage to put them in public, and then everybody will like crucify them, and then they'll get in trouble. But you know, this Morris guy, I'm gonna look him up. I'm upset about hearing about that. I'm gonna look into that.
Why are you upset about hearing about that?
Because like I mean, I never heard that one.
No,
And
I'll
it's
give you
like,
the example. No, that doesn't explain why. You're upset because
I'm upset that
no,
that's true,
hold up.
because
It
now it's
breaks
taken
your
a
illusion
right.
of believing in Trump.
Well, no, believing that the world.
No, think about it. You wouldn't be
no, it's not
upset
about
about
Trump. It's
that.
about believe. It's not even about Trump. Trump is one person.
No, it is
in the whole
about Trump.
movement. No, it's not.
Why else? All right. Why else would you be upset? Did you know who Robert Morris was?
Because he's representing the Q movement right now. So it's like upsetting that.
Okay. So
like,
in other words, it's a bias.
It's a little bit sad that maybe
it's a filter.
my dream for things getting better may not be
because
true.
it's pulling you out of your comfort zone, and that's where life begins.
Well, I know that's a theory. I mean, I don't think you have to be in discomfort in order for your life to begin. But yeah, I mean, I think that like you even said, like, you can enjoy life. Like, it wasn't like, did you say Alan Watts said, like, I don't think I've ever seen an unhappy tree or something, like, or no, discomfort.
It wasn't Alan Watts. It was Osho. So in other words,
Osho, right.
So in other words, don't take it seriously then now. The grape and the pillage and the plunder and the kid, the child that he graped. Don't take that serious.
I'm gonna look into it and see if like maybe like, because I've never mentioned this.
You're gonna look into it and see that maybe the kid is lying. Maybe
my dad became a criminal defense attorney because he was accused of a crime he didn't commit. So he was going to acting school. My dad went to some big acting school in New York City. He got accused of a crime. I think he was invited into those creepy clubs, and he was like a moral man, and he would never do it. He went to Fordham. He went to Fordham Law.
If you're a moral man and you're invited, you won't go.
Right, he didn't go. So the thing is, I think they just tried to accuse him of a crime that he didn't commit. So that's why he became a criminal defense attorney and worked at legal aid to help people who were innocent fight against the evil system that's trying to put innocent people away. So that's something, that means something to me. So I know that innocent people can be accused of something, and you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Well, your position is, like you said before, it's biased toward the Q. So
because I'm biased because I want the world to be a better place. I'm a fine.
But you want it to be a better place based on a flaw. It doesn't
work out. If it doesn't happen in the next 3 years, it's not happening, and it was all a lie, and I'm okay with that. But right now, it's like I want to actually get excited because good energy.
Why 3 years?
Our thoughts do help create. Like, we're creative beings. We're
but why 3 years? Why not 2?
Because it could be one. It could be this year. It could be the next 3 years.
No. Why are you saying that if it doesn't happen in 3 years, you'll accept it? Why not in 2?
Well, because there's a few more years till a few more years until they can clean up the swamp. Like, the swamp is a very
so he couldn't. So in other words, he couldn't clean up the swamp the first time he was in office.
No, because there's like literally like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of corrupt people in the planet. They're all over the world. They're very disgusting people. There's a lot of them, unfortunately.
I mean,
a lot of immoral people.
You're so innocent. That
I have a hope for the world, because you know what? I had a really good life up until the last 10 years of getting sick. I've had a great life, and I always knew that the whole world can have celebration. There's money grows on trees. We could all be planting fruit trees, and everybody can be sharing food with each other. Like, that's what's potentially coming. But but I mean, but maybe the government.
But what about the trails? What about the trails in the sky?
Yeah, well, supposedly, a lot of that's the different programs. Some of them are being stopped, and I've actually.
So Trump, all right. What's the name of the program? You see how I gave you the name of Robert Morris?
There's 200 generals, and there's a lot of other.
All right. What's the name of the program that's stopping it?
I'll take notes and then I'll share them with you later. I'm like I can't.
Okay, you don't want to. All right.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know if I could gather my thoughts because there's a lot of information that I've got across, but like. Supposedly there's a program that was one of the chemtrail programs. I don't know if it was like.
So you don't know the name of it?
No, I don't know the name of it.
Oh, okay, no, that's
but
cool.
I can.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Find out. But supposedly it stopped. But I took pictures of the sky the last couple of days. I couldn't believe how clear it was and how like the beautiful puffy clouds. I took pictures of it. And then today though, there wasn't a whole lot of chemtrails. I didn't see a lot of chemtrails today. But when I was driving home from the dentist, which I didn't actually get to get my work done, there was a huge cloud cluster, and it was like a really big, beautiful cloud, but it was absolutely fake. It was like this huge, and it looked like a pyramid. I took pictures of it. It's like this huge.
So it was like an experiment.
It was like they were mocking people. Like, yeah, maybe one program's gone, but here we got like the Illuminati is still here. I don't know. I mean, that was today. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, things are going to change over time, but it all can't change right away. Like first they're taking down supposedly the Federal Reserve, and then the IRS.
All right. So who told you they're taking down the Federal Reserve? Trump?
I got 3 years. It's not just Trump. He's just the clown on the stage, being the person that everybody hates. Like he's playing.
So he said they're going to take down the Federal Reserve.
Supposedly, it's already like some of its powers.
He said he was going to audit it. He didn't say he was going to take it down.
He was going to audit it right now.
He never did. He never did.
Yeah. So now
there's something that's happening now, but there's some. It's saying like, something.
I hear where you're at. Justin, did you want to add into this, or are you good?
Oh yeah, just real quick about. I guess I was watching a couple minutes before. Was like talking about Trump being involved with the whole PDF file ring, or not. But I think one of the main things that I look at is, he said that for the longest time, once I'm getting in office for the second time, I'll release all the Epstein files or whatever. He comes to become the president, and then, nothing happens. And it's just like, okay, well, why isn't anything happening? I think like the obvious answer is, he's, part of this system or whatever.
That's the obvious answer, but a person's perception of reality will override that reality that you stated and defend somebody that is openly guilty of many things.
You can't say openly. I'm giving it 3 years, and I won't say anymore.
No, this is the thing. When you say that the court who has convicted him of over 30 felonies, when you rationalize and say, well, now the court is lying, that's the same thing as when a news story comes out that exposes the truth about him, and he says it's fake news. And it also goes in line with anything that happens against them. Oh, if they lose an election, that means the other side cheated. So in other words, if they lose an election because the people don't like them, they'll lie. Oh, these people cheated because we never can lose. I mean, look at that position.
You think the MSM, you think the mainstream media is honest and they're telling people?
No, it's not about them being honest. It's about what these people are saying. It's like, okay, so you can never lose an election. Honestly, the only way you can lose it is because the other people cheated. How crooked is that? And how much of a mask do you have to have in front of you to where you can't see the reality of that? So your perception.
Well, I've been looking into the election stuff. There's a lot of fraud going on there. And if you look,
it's not about election fraud. It's about anytime these people lose, oh, they cheated. And the other time, oh, we either win or they cheated. What type of stuff is that? You never had this level of insanity.
When I know.
All right, let's look at Bush. Even though Bush's father wasn't the most idolized person or whatever, when he lost against Clinton, there was no, oh, you guys cheated. It was like, hey, you know what? I knew it was over. You can look at the details.
They work together. The Clintons and the Bush are like so evil.
I'm not talking about they're together. I'm talking about the behavior of a Republican, George Bush Sr., when he
Look,
lost.
They're
It
both
wasn't,
New
it
World
wasn't
Order,
you
though.
cheated. You know who says you were
They're
cheated?
both New World
Somebody.
Order,
And
though.
now look at the behavior. A guy who's
It's the New World
convicted.
Order. It's the New World Order against the White Hats, whatever Q operation. The Clinton and Bush conceding to each other. They're all New World Order.
I'm not
they
talking
hang out.
about conceding.
Well,
I'm
I'm just saying
talking
they
about
didn't
being
fight it
honest.
because they're the same company. They're the ones that like decide who gets put in. Like they let Trump win this last time so they can make a mockery and be like, "Oh yeah, we let you win."
This is the thing.
I know it's rationalization. I'm not saying it's true.
Anything I say, any evidence that I present about Trump basically having to pay, being liable for sexual abuse, right, and defamation, which now it's sexual abuse. They got that down away from rape because they're like, oh, the definition of rape, they have to clarify. Anybody else wouldn't have had all of this stuff. When you're looking at a level of crookery of this, and then a person like yourself who's very conscious, right, to sit here and constantly defend him. I'm saying,
but look at how our court system is so corrupt. It's just as corrupt.
Yeah, it's only corrupt when it convicts
system.
Trump. It's only corrupt when it convicts
it's
Trump.
been corrupt for a long time. It's been corrupt for a long time. Do you know there's a woman who was in jail for she got 9 years. She was
in other words,
she's a 70-year-old woman.
wait. Hold up a second.
She's
hold
a
up.
Gold Star mom.
Hold up a second. You're fire hosing. Hold up. Now, were the courts corrupt when they convicted Robert Morris of raping a 12-year-old? Were they corrupt then?
I don't know. I don't know if he was falsely accused. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. So again, anybody that's associated with Trump now, this is the mental. This is the part
but you're
where
not. My dad was falsely accused of a crime he didn't commit. So I'm saying it's possible that a lot of this is. I've seen what they've been trying to destroy. I mean,
there is a mental.
If you looked into JFK JFK Jr.'s magazine, he was a Democrat, hardcore Democrat. He did you cut me off? I'm sorry. No.
No. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry that the screen changed and I was like, so if you looked into George magazine, JFK Jr., he was a Democrat. He cares about the people. I mean, I mean, there could be a conspiracy to be like,
what does this have to do with Trump and Epstein Island?
Because they're working together. He put Trump on the cover of George magazine. They talked about Clinton going to jail. They have a future. They did, how to talk about the going to the future with like time travel. There's a future magazine done in I forgot what year, 1997.
It's perfect because your perception of reality is not matching the facts.
Well, no, but it's like just like you research things. I'm not a podcaster, so I can't put together.
No, it's not about being a podcaster.
No, but
it's about your perception of reality.
There's so much information to organize.
They said they traveled into the future, but they can't prove they did.
They can't prove they did, but so the whole Q
post,
they keep saying future proves past, future proves past.
So you're trying to go through time travel to defend this guy.
Well, that's what that's a big part of what they're saying. That's how they have all this information. That's how
it's all good. It's all good.
That's how the Q posts are all lining up. All the things that they said 6-year delta, 8-year delta.
It's so sad because I
know it sounds sad because you haven't looked into it. You haven't looked into it.
I know.
And you're never going to pay it any mind. You're never going to pay. It's sad to me though. The way you think it's sad about me, it's the same about you. You could put the mirror up and like you're never going to look at
what's sad about it with you is I see an innocent person. I see like the innocent girl when you were younger and you're believing you had a good father and you want to believe. The world is so ugly. Trump is so evil.
Right, but if my dad was a great person, if my dad was a great person, why couldn't there be 200 other great men that are in the military and the government that are fighting it? And
I'm sure there's a lot of great people, but they're not in power.
Yeah, and they're working with quantum computers and time travel to actually get the shit done.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying it's possible. Come on, you do all these esoteric
throw it out there. Cool.
But then all of a sudden you're like Mr. Black Pill. It's like this opposite personality.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I'm presenting facts, and you are doing a great job at avoiding them.
I think that's biased to say everything that you're presenting is facts. I mean, that
really?
is
okay. So the guy, so the case The documented case, the
I'm
law
saying your
case.
beliefs in the court system is a
No,
little
I'm
bit.
not talking about a belief in the court system. I'm talking about a document. So I'm reading off the document. You can. How is that not a fact?
I'm not saying what you're reading isn't a fact, but like what you're actually reading doesn't necessarily contain facts. Like it's printed, but it doesn't
You
mean
are
that what they're writing.
hilarious. You know,
It
you
doesn't mean what
are.
they're writing is true.
But
what you say
how come
is
you don't
true.
believe that, but you believe that they said they did time travel in the future?
I'm not saying I believe it. I'm saying I'm giving it 3 years, and we'll all know. We'll all know if I'm fucking sorry if I'm retarded or not.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just
Why do we
naive.
gotta wait 3
Maybe I'm just
years for
naive, but
that?
I'm just being hopeful.
But
because
why do we gotta wait 3 years?
Because there's a lot of stuff still going down. It's already been 9 years. It's like now there's just a few
So
more
not.
left.
So wait a minute. We've been waiting 9. You said this before.
I
Then?
didn't wait 9 years. I dropped out 6 years ago. I just joined in last year when I got a couple dreams that like guided me back to it.
So
And
did
you know
you
what?
say back then in 3 years, and then 3 years came, and you're giving it another 3?
No, I never know what I didn't even. They never said it was going to take 12 years from when it first came out. They were just dropping these posts that like no one really knew how to decode. Now 9 years later, I actually.
So did you go to January 6th? Were you one of the Sixers?
No, I don't do protests.
Do you agree with that?
I would agree a peaceful protest if I believed that there was an election fraud and if I had.
But don't you think those people were zombies?
I mean, some of the MAGA people are zombies. Yeah,
But
I mean,
why did they think that they could
zombies
control
everywhere? But there's some people that are actually believe like the Q people. That I mean, there is a big possibility that there is a lot of light in this, even though there's a lot of darkness in this world. There is supposedly balanced amount of light and dark. It's like it's not like completely black sided. You know, it's not all dark sided. It's like there's been an imbalance happening, but now I think things are starting to go. The balances is starting to like become more level. So I mean, I think
Why?
I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Why do you think they're becoming more level?
Because what I've been paying attention to. You haven't been
Because
paying
of
attention
Trump?
to any.
Is it because of
No,
Trump?
the Q, not Trump. It's not about Trump.
I went on QAnon. Honestly, I didn't see anything that
actor on the
spectacular.
stage. What?
I went on there. One guy told me about it. I didn't see anything really that interesting.
About Q? Probably because he didn't know how to explain
You
it. I mean,
can't tell me to say hilarious.
there are a lot of things they call them Q-tards. There's a lot of people that
She's like almost to the point where she's adorable. She's like she's like in the car seat in the back, and we're driving.
We gotta keep it light. It's not all dark.
You are hilarious. You're so adorable. It's like love. It's like you're in the back, and I'm like, okay, honey, here's the applesauce.
God is real.
If you want to see the real dirty stuff, you got to go in the deep web. That stuff is illegal.
No, I got sick. I got really sick because when I learned about all this really dark, horrible things with children and satanic ritual abuse. I mean, I looked into everything. And I was so sickened, and I was like, and you're right. As soon as you talk about as soon as you talk about, PDF file stuff, and you want to talk about it, like that's when I started to get harassed. And I mean, it could be an AI thing. I really think it could be an AI thing that's literally controlling, like, policing people and harassing them and psychological warfare to like, disturb them and break their nervous system down because it lowered my nervous system, and I actually got sick. But the thing is, it doesn't mean like love and, most people are good. It's just that these people are very dark and they're in control, but it doesn't mean it can't be broken. Like, I mean, I'll giving it 3 years. That's it. But, I recommend that everybody buys some silver, though, because like our dollar is going to crash at some point, and whether you think it's a good or a bad thing, but like.
Well, I am betting on silver taking off. I am betting.
Okay, good. It's going to go up to 300, or it could go. I mean, some people are saying it's going to go on par with gold. I don't know, but everyone should get some, and just in case, because no matter what. Like the New World Order, like, I mean, basically you're saying the New World Order is coming. I don't believe that. Like, it's like, I believe that there's.
I don't think they're coming. They've been here the whole time.
Well, no, but they've been developing for the last 100 years, and now it's coming to a very important time. Like, it's either now or never. So people need to get together and go against it. But I don't think everybody. I don't think everybody.
We can't go against anything. That's the lie. That's the deception.
Well, no, but
we're just slaves in the system.
Raising our consciousness and knowing that, like, a lot of people don't realize that they're pitting us against each other. I mean, and they're.
Of course.
Yeah, but so if everyone can wake up to those things, but like if
No.
everyone's blaming everything on Trump, like that's the problem. It's like he's like one clown in like it's been crooked and corrupt for so long. It's like everybody blames everything on
People will
him. It's
never
like
be unified. There's too many zombies. It's never going to happen.
right, but let's us not be zombies. Let's just be open, be like, you know what? Anything's possible. We're co-creators. Our consciousness has energy and electricity, and like we
All we're
have
here to,
power. We have
but all
power.
we're
So
here to
what
do is look for the survivors. We're not here to
like I've
overthrow
heard you guys
anything.
talk about on your speech in your other streams. You're like some people just like let life go by, but we're actually supposed to be creating, just like that guy Hyperborea. He's like, you actually have to have a will. You need to go out and create. Like they want us to not understand how powerful we are. So if we're all here just blackpilling each other and getting down, being like, you know what, shit's bad and it's always going to be bad and there's nothing else. It's like, no, that's not the way it is. Because I've had a great life so far. And you know what? Yeah, life can suck sometimes, and we got to roll with the punches and whatever, get fucking tossed in the waves. But it doesn't mean that there's a lot of goodness ahead. And it's like as soon as all the powers and the government get taken out, which is a plan, just like it's supposed to be all like a lot of the government's just going to go away after all these changes happen, and people are just going to be planting food. Like, I mean, it's literally going to be, they're trying to get rid of government. I know it's hard to believe that, but like the new world, or it's either going to be new world order or it's going to be us, everyone like opting out. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to opt into all that virtual reality stuff, and those people are the zombies, and unfortunately, you know, they're taking themselves out. But there is a possibility that there is this other way, because you know what, God is powerful, God is love, and you know, whether God is like, you know, it's aware, it's a field, it's like we're all in it, we're part of it, and if we want to create something that's wonderful and beautiful, that's what it's going to be. And even if it's like just me in my own universe, if you guys aren't coming there, okay, you can go live wherever you want to live. It's a free will, you know, you can do what you want.
Well, I mean, I love your passion. I love your
consciousness rising.
passion.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute now, but I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I said I
No,
love
I
your
just wanted to talk to you regarding that. See, I'm not here to brag about myself, but I know a little bit about astrology and astronomy, all right. The good times, the bad times, everything is already predetermined and set. Now you're just given the illusion of free will. I've seen countless cases where they've predicted accidents happening, miscarriages happening, even sexual assaults happening, all this, and even murder also happening. There's nothing anyone could do about it. It just appears that we have free will. It's like an illusion. But since everything is predetermined, even the good times that come on earth is just like a temporary kind of relief for times that will be difficult ahead. Everything is like very cyclical, and it's already it's like what do you say, it's already decided by God that we'll go through this, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Conscious rising, like, it will appear that you can do something about it, that we have free will, but that's just an illusion. Actually, from my own experience, I'm telling you this, because
Right.
like I used to practice astrology, and I got fed up seeing how none of it could be prevented. Every time the predictions kept coming true, and we were all helpless to prevent against the onslaughts of fate. So like wars and other cosmic events like famine, earthquakes, and natural disasters, we can't do anything about it. Mankind has been wiped out and created around 81 times. So even your good times actually were just like an illusion that was created by God for you to go through. We are just here to experience everything that God has given us to experience. We can't do anything about it. Conscious rising. I'm
Well,
sorry
that's
to be
possible.
this.
That's possible, but so is something else. If you said 81 times, that is 9 times 9. Those are completion cycles. So maybe those completion cycles are gone, and maybe now it's time that we're going out and we're expanding beyond that. But I understand. I mean, I had experiences where I felt like I was being, like, my body was being lived. Like, I think it was I don't know if I don't think it was the DMT, but I felt like my body was moving, and I was like, there was an energy force moving through me that like wasn't me. But the thing is, it's like you can't say that that's for sure. I mean, it's your experience, but you know, there's much more than what you've experienced so far. I mean, our lives right now are a blink of an eye. Like, you know, we have had many lifetimes before, and I know that we're eternal, but like, you can't say that for a fact. You know what I mean? But I appreciate and I
Yeah,
understand it's
yeah,
possible. But
consciousness. The soul is eternal, no doubt, but the body it's encased in is like a prison for it, and it is forced to go through these experiences whether it likes it or not, and it's a constant cycle. cycle, freed from it when fate determines that it's time for you to be free from it. Until then, for a very long time, you'll just have to keep experiencing what you have to keep experiencing. There's nothing you can do about it. Conscious rising, your presenting of a positive future of hopes, even that is predetermined, and it won't last long. It will just be a phase, and again we're going to go through the same cycle of ups and downs, and bad luck and good times and bad times. And the bad times will be pretty horrible. The good times will actually make you soft and unprepared. When the bad time comes, when the bad times do come, you won't be able to do anything about it, actually. Like
How old are you? How old are you? I'm sorry. How old are you, Varun?
I'm 39, conscious.
So you're 39 years old. So you've come to conclusions that like, I mean, they say anybody who thinks they know doesn't. Like I just, you could, I mean, you could have many lifetimes where that is true. And, there are some things, maybe it's our karma, but like usually the karma comes from like our free will choices from the past, right? Or, or whatever. I mean, maybe we have to experience everything. We have to go through every single experience, and like, yeah, that's okay, but we shouldn't be like thinking everything's shitty and sucks and that's what it's going to be going forward. Like that's I mean, you're literally projecting that out into the future, and like we do create some things, not everything. I mean, some things are predetermined, but you know what? You can't just go around saying, oh, you can't help. I mean, there's a lot of solutions to a lot of these problems. Like what you're saying is that there's no solution, so why just give up? Let us be poisoned and die. It's like there's a lot of things you could do for yourself to actually have a higher quality of the last like 20, 30 years of your life. The way we're being poisoned, everybody has a really horrible last 30 years of your life. You don't have to, especially if you start, using food as like medicine and medicine as like food. Like there's a lot of things that you could do with your own free will. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Justin, did you have anything on this? All right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a great question. Free will, like, do we actually have, free will in certain choices? I remember I brought this point up with Zach like a while ago, because he brought up the movie Him. I don't know if you ever seen that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so
football, the kid.
Yeah, the kid that plays football. But I don't know if you caught it, but the whole
ritual and all of that, the Satanistic type of stuff.
Yeah, like he was pretty much born to play that role, or whatever.
Zach is bringing that up.
Oh, he brought that. I remember I went on a show a while ago, and we brought up the point because he was talking about the movie. And I remember bringing it up to him. I don't think, like, let's say that kid who plays that role, I don't think he necessarily has free will, just based off the movie. They give you certain signs, like, okay, like this, he gets knocked out by that weird creature thing, and then that affects how he plays at the combine or whatever. But yeah, so like I see that aspect of, like, I guess, like the predeterminism or whatever, or I don't know if it's if that applies to everybody. But I think in certain cases, like, call it like the cabal or God, but it almost like, okay, it almost like chooses like the parents that you have and like the type of ego development. Like for example, the kid in the movie, like his dad dies when he's young, and that pretty much like sets him on the path to be a great quarterback. So I think that is definitely like a thing. But yeah.
And what do you think about what Conscious Rising is saying? Like, do you think her perception of reality is not in tune with the reality that we see?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like everyone, sees reality their own way. I get what she's saying when she's saying, like
behind the scenes. Like, so in other words, he's like a secret agent in disguise that's fighting for good. Do you think that lines up with reality?
Oh, no. I think anybody on the world stage, like if you're a president, if you're a prime minister, if you're anybody with, anybody in any certain position, you have to be compromised. I don't think there's any middle ground. I mean, I think there's some people, there's levels to the compromisation. I think, like Trump.
Yeah, they're not going to let you in that position you're not compromisable.
No one's
You know,
talking
so
about
yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, and you know, and I understand where conscious is
Nobody's
at. I'm not
talking about.
debating.
Nobody's even acknowledging that the New World Order is there. Only Trump and the Q people, like all the other governments, like every like Republican and Democrat. No one's even talking about any conspiracies. Like the Q movement, and Trump is actually nodding to the Q movement just as of this last week. Nobody else is even acknowledging that the.
So he's like 00 Trump.
He's not even the leader of it. He's like playing a role. He's doing it as a favor. He was
Did
asked.
you?
He
Is
was
Zach
asked,
for Trump or not for Trump?
allegedly, he was asked to do it by JFK Jr., Nixon, and 200 generals because they've been plotting this thing. They needed him to go in and go and hang out with the disgusting pedophiles, like PDF files like Jeffrey Epstein and these horrible people that were doing all this trafficking and getting the information. And like for 40 years, they've been working on it. And now 9 years ago, they started to try to get some people that cared about the children and whatever, and introduce all this
And
information.
that person is Trump. So you're telling me Trump here?
Wikipedia was the first level. They're gonna supposedly get the rest.
All right,
of
so
the,
Trump, so the whole island thing.
Files are coming.
So
The
Trump,
rest of the Epstein files are coming.
Wait, so Trump went to Epstein Island, what, to save kids? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think he actually went there.
So
but
the pictures. So you don't think he went?
All right. Epstein. He hung out with him. I don't think he actually went to the island ever, but he hung out with him. He hung out with him and was friends with him.
So all those pictures that Trump had with kids on his laps, he was trying to save them or something?
Those were his own kids, though, right? It was Ivanka.
Oh, wait. So there's many pictures of like 10-year-olds that are on his children.
10-year-olds? Oh, I didn't.
Wait, do you think Melania's trans? Sorry, that was a random question.
I mean, I think a lot of people are trans, but I don't. I mean, she like, you know what? Women, when they get older, with all the poisons that we're exposed to, like a lot of estrogen drops, and all, like, you know, people's heads get bigger. By the way, like, just so you know, like you'll notice some men, like, they get exposed to a lot of chemicals.
No, he just asked you a yes or no question.
Okay, I don't necessarily think she is, but she could be, but I don't think so. But I think Michelle Obama is.
What about his daughter? You think that could have been a son or
who? Ivanka?
Yeah.
I never really thought of it. She was really always very skinny. I mean, she has like chipmunk cheeks. I don't know. I don't really trust her or her, like her husband, or I don't really know. I don't really get good vibes from them.
And what about the other one, Eric? They say he was could have been a girl that FTM.
I never heard these things, but I think that like his sons look creepy. I don't know why. I mean
it's just speculation. It's just speculation. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. They look a little bit creepy. I remember when Q first came out, I actually saw a video of one of the sons. I think it was Eric.
Have you ever seen what George Bush Sr.? Have you ever seen his wife?
Yeah, she was a man, I think. Yeah,
Barbara,
Barbara, and she was supposedly Aleister Crowley's daughter, I think. I mean, son, probably.
Yeah,
I think she's related to Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, it's kind of
yeah. I mean,
I think all first ladies are trans. I think that's like part of. Yeah, I think because you look at different symbology with like the trans thing, like the Statue of Liberty, like probably being a trans, person. I think it's like they call it the first lady. I think it's relating to I guess like mystery cults, like ancient mystery cults. There's certain ones that had deities that were trans. They were like half men and women, or whatever. But yeah.
MD.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the thing is, conscious rising is saying that eventually we'll move to a time and space where life on earth becomes better, and it's good for all of us. Actually, it won't be so bad. But if I've noticed anything in history, even the Roman poet said this, I forgot his name. He said that luxury is more ruthless than war. So let's say you go through a lot of good times, it makes you feeble and your senses soft. So when the bad time comes, you won't be able to adapt to it and you get wiped out. So it's actually very dangerous in a sense, even if you have these good times also, no, MD. Like,
yeah,
it's very naive to think that. Yeah.
It's like we were saying earlier. If you remove the bear and the snake and the cougar and the dangers in nature, if you're in a safe environment, it makes you less aware because you don't have to be aware. You don't have to be alert. And that's what it seems to be creating. It's like a farm animal compared to an animal in the wild. We see the difference on how they don't have to worry and they become docile, very easily farmed, as compared to something that has to live in the wild and be aware of a predator, be aware of how does it find food. You know, these are things where when we look at that, we start to say, wow, something has domesticated us. The question is what? The unthinker will say, no, 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 it's us. We domesticated ourselves. That's like pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. You can't do that. And now, when we look at it, we say, oh, domestication comes from another hand that manipulates. So, like how we domesticate cattle, and you'll still see forms of wild type of bulls and buffaloes. But the hand, something other than the life form, is what domesticates it. So humans couldn't have just become domesticated. Things don't just become domesticated. What is it that domesticated us? And this is a serious question. It's a question that most people don't want to look into because it messes with their perception of reality. It goes beyond what they perceive reality to be. And that's what the whole stream is about, to say, okay, your perception versus reality. Your perception is totally different from what reality actually is. But in knowing that our perception is limited in perceiving what reality is, we can broaden our outlook. We can make the filter, the knowledge filter that prevents us from knowing, our preconceived notions. That's basically what the knowledge filter is. What we were taught to believe over what is true. So in that aspect, belief becomes extremely dangerous when it comes to perception. Belief has to be put on hold. You got to put belief on hold. And remember what we said a long time ago, I've said it through many streams, belief suspends thinking in the same way that thinking suspends belief. So when we put belief on hold, now we are free to think. And more, more like to where we look into it, we start to say, oh, now that belief is on hold, we can critically think. And, Lee, we have exposed the religion of evolution on many levels. You can look at the oldest streams. It's totally unscientific. So we have a lot of good knowledge there if you want to check that out. The whole naturalistic, there's nothing that's natural. Everything seems to have been created in some fashion or another, constructed, engineered, whatever word a person wants to use. And I'm not religious. Wolves versus dogs. That's when we look at the wolf versus dogs, there's no way a wolf was domesticated into a dog just by magic, by natural selection or mutation. That just doesn't happen that way. We look at that and we say something, just like cats. Cats may have been genetically engineered somehow. So there's a lot, it gets deep. And yeah, I did hear about the book. I think it goes back even further too. I think there is some further stuff. They want us to be afraid of life when life is alive and living and intelligent. Exactly. Yeah. And that, if you notice, they keep pushing that. They push that fear of be afraid, don't experience life, and that's the thing. It's what was it? You are free to do as we tell you. Freedom of speech. Just watch what you say. So you think about that. It's like, let's look at the amendments that they talk about. Oh, you have the right to this, the right to that, right? It's like, why would I need somebody to tell me I have the right to do something? The Constitution makes you free in the same way a get well card makes you better. Now, if you can understand that, you start to see that our our perception is a little more, if you can understand that, broadened than somebody who still thinks that these legal, so-called fictional laws give you the rights to anything. Safety and security are an illusion. You know, they're illusions at best and horrible nightmares at the worst. That they're a stark reminder of what reality is. There is no safety or security.
Right, but what if the New World Order comes down and they don't let us like leave our 15-minute, like we can't drive a car and leave? Like it's like you don't want it to be a concentration camp. So in case there is a chance to escape the New World Order, I'm saying I just don't want us to all shoot ourselves in the foot and just hate Trump and like, you know, put him on a stake and burn him while potentially he's working with these people to make sure that we don't have the chains of the New World Order, because the New World Order, they're trying to make it happen.
We don't know. We don't know who is running this. You see what I'm saying? And we have an evolution zombie in the chat. I don't care if you're a molecular biologist, you're paid. And see, this is the thing. When they say it can change very rapidly, that seems intelligent. Intelligence in life is everywhere. You go back, there's no way cells are going to form by random mutation. It's not going to happen. And
I can't believe you have to fight these people. Evolution. I can't believe it's like so funny to me. I can't even believe.
Well, they're evolution zombies. The fact that these people aren't aware enough to see that a spoon, something as simple as a spoon, if we were to dig up a spoon in 100 feet of dirt, they would say, wow, somebody made that spoon. There was a civilization that made these spoons. They'll even find that with little rocks, like chipping rocks. Oh, look, they were chipping rocks. This is evidence of somebody chipping the rock, right? But something as complex as a cell, they'll say that formed magically by chance. And when you look at the mathematics behind that, it's improbable. Like we said, nothing's impossible, but if you flap your arms, you're not going to fly. I mean, it's very improbable. They could say, well, okay, keep flapping then, if you think so. And that's the evolutionist, the person that believes in a lie that was pushed through these churches disguised as universities that put preachers in there disguised as professors, paid to disinformation, the average, to corrupt the youth, basically. Anybody that, remember, this is insane asylum level, straitjacket, Thorazine on level 5. You know, this, you look at the insanity of the so-called modern world, the Western world. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All of this stuff now that they're doing in laboratories, you can't even trust what they're saying now because they've already polluted everything that they touched. And I understand you're a believer in this. See, they tell you only recently they discovered that, and you believe it. You say, hey, you know what? The day they told us that they discovered, that's the day they discovered it. Your perception of reality, right? Your perception of reality doesn't line up what reality is. And that's nothing against you. That's saying, hey, you know what? If you can loosen the restriction of your ego filter, you can actually learn and realize the truth that you do not know where life came from, and you don't have the faintest clue. You've been indoctrinated by lies to think that it happened by chance, that it was created by some type of chance over a long time. But math doesn't equal that. Math shows that, wait a second, 1 billion seconds versus 1 million seconds. That's a pretty good scale. 1 million seconds is about 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. 31 years. So 1 trillion seconds would be 31,000 years. A quadrillion seconds would be 3.1 million. So from 30,000, 31,000 to 3.1 million. Now, if it changed every second, right, it would even take longer than that. So 3.1 million years times 1,000 is 3.1 billion. That's going into the quintillion. It's 100 quintillion for 20 amino acids to form by chance a protein. So if it changed every second, that's just a protein, not to mention the lipids, the carbohydrates, the nucleus, and the fact that there are many other chemical concoctions that need to be in this. And and this is okay because it's not about what you're saying. You don't understand what I've studied. You're in labs, right? Getting paid to lie to yourself. And you can be a published author because that's basically in line with the church of evolution that you belong to. That's okay. That's okay. Your perception of reality is actually biased. Did we go to the moon? Exactly. Exactly. This is a question for the user that is here, the evolution zombie. He can answer that. Egotist, yeah, you don't have an ego, right? You don't have an ego. All those so-called professionals, that's a circle jerk. That's a circle jerk. What they do is they masturbate these ideas with each other, telling them that, yeah, you know what? This has no purpose. It happened by accident. And that, when you really look at, all boils down to racism. Race ain't the father of racism, it's the child. And evolution is what has did that in a pseudoscientific way. So when you're ready to expand by loosening the ego so your perception of reality can grow more towards what reality is, then you'll start learning. You know, Iam says, I've been through the system and now I'm brainwashed and pushing their false made up ideology to help support the fist. Holy smokes. Yeah, that's what
MD.
that guy sounds like. Dennis Fisher made a couple of great inventions which gave kids a toy to create phenomenal geometric drawings. Yeah, you know, people creating things for children to learn and explore their minds. I mean, that it's really great to see that. It really is, man. We need more of that. But I mean, I don't see it, but hopefully we get more of that. I believe there's a fine line between evolution and selective breeding, artificial selection. And see, this is you want your cake and eat it. There is no evolution. If you look up the word, it means to unfold. And evolution is based on they have to exonerate the people who committed horrible crimes. And they're saying, well, you know, let's make evolution to say, look, it's just nature. This is just the way it's a survival of the fittest. And to show you guys, because I've had it here for people that come here with their religious, this is the Bible that evolutionists listen to, the origin of species. But when you look closer at the title, you see the racism in it. On the origin of species by means of natural selection, or the preservation of favored races in the struggle, not the cooperation of life, even though we see life cooperating, but this was at a time where you saw criminals enslaving people. And these criminals that enslaved people don't want to say that they're wrong. So they created elaborate schemes, and one being the lie called evolution. What is it? The lie most commonly agreed upon that they do today. Remember, has been so polluted by the lie of evolution, they won't even call biology anymore. They'll call it evolutionary biology. That's ridiculous. It's biology. There is no evolutionary biology. And that's how you know that they got their hands into it.
MD.
Perception of reality is always different from what reality is. What's up, Asrun? Do you got to go?
There is one saying actually in my native language in Kannada, ಒಂದ್ ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಚ್ಚಾಕಕ್ ಸಾವಿರ ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. That means if you tell one lie, to cover it up, you have to tell 1,000 more lies, and you have to keep lying all the time. So Charles Darwin didn't know anything about genetics. It was Johannes Gregor Mendel who discovered genetics. And every time you see something read about genetics, I have the book Fundamentals of Genetics. You'll see evolution mentioned everywhere for every topic in genetics. Actually, they're lying literally even in the textbook.
Yes, the textbooks are filled with lies, and this is why this guy believes it so much. He won't do the experiment that he doesn't need the PlayStation or whatever. You could use your mind. And he doesn't want to say, hey, you know what? I just presented it to him. He can do the math on what the probability would be in cells forming by chance. And it's just not existent. It is equivalent to zero. But they'll make up lies. They'll bring up things like chemical infinities or, the common ancestor lie, the missing link lie. A missing link implies that it exists. So evolution is based on a lie, saying, no, 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 we know it's a non-existent transitional species, but we'll call it a missing link to imply that it exists, and it's just missing. It doesn't exist. It's not missing. It doesn't exist. It's a non-existent transitional species, just like the common ancestor. Oh, apes, humans don't come from apes. They have a common ancestor. What's the name of the common ancestor? Oh, well, we don't know. It's fully based on lies, man. Fully based on lies. They can't see, and that's the funny thing. They can't explain how a cell came into being. There is no life form that transforms into another life form. Any type of bacteria stays a bacteria. Any type of other life form, mammal, fish, amphibian, stays that type of life form. And yes, the lie snowballs. It snowballs over and over and over again. Frankenstein was the real monster. And by the way, remember, he was the doctor. He was the one who created the unfortunate. Wow. That's definitely pretty deep. Though through all the world, worldwide, human strife didn't the cooperation of all peoples contribute to the findings and inventions we have today. Honestly, when you look at the inventions we have today, they seem to be re-engineered from something much older. The fact that you're seeing things that look like light bulbs on ancient Egyptian temple walls, the Antikythera device. See, evolutionists, this is again a blatant, shows you how blatantly they lie. Any archaeological site that finds something against the theory of evolution, the religion basically, they militarize the site. You can't dive off the coast of Antikythera. It was banned after they found what appeared to be an ancient computer. So they're never looking for what real life is about. It's always a lie. And this is why there's just like they said they lost the technology to go back to the moon. Exactly. It's lie. People who believe in evolution are minions of the state. That is the state's religion. And it can easily be debunked. They come out and say, oh, well, you can do experiments. Hey, why don't you do an experiment? Tell me the mathematical probability of something forming by chance, something like a cell. Show me any life form that changes into another type of life form. When you look at the fossil record and the dating, it's all mashed up. It's really sad because it's anything but scientific. If you look at experiments and stratification on how layers of Earth will selectively, like they will sort in different levels of density. And it's almost unbelievable because when you look at levels of strata, you would think that the ones underneath are older. And there are cases where you would see that. But anybody can repeat the experiments and show how gravel sorts in different types of layers with pyroclastic flows. Look at Mount St. Helens. That's a scientific evidence right there. But a lot of these evolutionists don't want to even look in that direction because it destroys what they've been taught to believe. Their perception of reality is shattered. It's shown to be an illusion with a curtain behind it. And when they move the veil, they see creation from a direct influence. So they think it was created from an indirect, no direction. It just happened by chance. But when you look behind the veil, when you look through your perception, you see that it is a direct influence of creation. Mr. X, you had something?
No, let's not forget. I mean, the original moon tapes of the landing. I don't think anybody can dispute this. They were there, but they lost. They didn't have enough tapes, so they recorded some TV show over them by accident.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I guess
if
the guy, one of the guys in the chat, he's Evolution Zombie 101. And, again, they try to claim they're scientists and all this stuff.
it's a
like,
belief. You can't prove evolution. You cannot prove it as an origin. You cannot do that. You're going to tell me what happened 18 million years ago with the cell and what it was doing? That's a belief. That's not scientific. You cannot reproduce that in a lab. So that's a belief you have, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. And then they'll say, oh, well, you can do these experiments today on different things. And that doesn't prove evolution.
No. Show me where it transitions from one species to another. Well, it takes a long time for that. We're talking millions of years. Well, you just left science and you went to religion.
Yeah. It's total rubbish. Total. And the Grand Canyon. Yeah. That's another example of what, when you look at Mount St. Helens, you see that. It just, yeah. And that's the funny thing. Things changed and all of that, but you can't see it now, but you'll see stuff change according to an environment very quickly. Very quickly.
That's right. And time is the enemy of the cell. It's not the friend of it. Time destroys the cell. It cannot survive that long.
Yeah.
But you want us to believe it took millions of years to
unless you're a crocodile.
Yeah, there you
go. And that's the funny thing is that when they talk about like self-folding proteins, all of this stuff, that protein is not like there is some type of force that could have an intelligence that connects people, what we call space. Now, some people call that the ether. Now, the ether, they're saying, is like maybe a living force. I'm not totally sure. I know a lot of people who get into esoteric sciences get with that. But this is where the religion of evolution don't like people to look to. When you look at just animals that camouflage themselves, like remember, I had that like 80-something page conversation with AI. And finally, AI, because AI is programmed to be pro-evolution. But if you ask the right questions, it will show you that what they say when they try to say things evolve, it's really inference. And they infer basically that, somebody's going to the beach with a towel. That means they're going in the water. No, it doesn't. That inference is many times proven to be false. Add in the lies of calling things something that they shouldn't be called, a missing link or a common ancestor, which, you mean an ancestor that doesn't exist. So you want to create that there's some type of missing, or not even missing, because remember, that implies that it exists, some non-existent common ancestor. Now you say, wait, that makes no sense. Now, why would you say that? That's
their
just
deity. That's their deity is the missing link.
Exactly. That's the Messiah. It's always coming. That's their Messiah, the missing link. And then you have the other religious people, the deity based, that are going back and forth with them. And that's some of the most funniest thing, because when people look at molecules, right, and they look at chemicals and all types of stuff, these things, when they call it chemical affinities, they say, the chemicals will just be attracted to each other and this and that. Just looking at the magnetic force without chemicals, you wonder, you say, so that just happened by chance, by natural? How did gravity get created? How does it exist? How does the electromagnetic force create? How does it happen? It just, there's just, again, because all they know is violence and hatred. It's a bang, a gunshot, a big bomb, an explosion, always something violent. And then that exploded. And then all of these things that came out, like a grenade, if a grenade explodes, things don't coalesce and start spinning around and form. Where did this gravity come from? And it's always believe us. We don't know, but just believe us. Keep believing us. We'll find out. Don't think for yourself. Don't think for yourself. Do these molecular experiments and stuff like that and say that you're an evolutionist, because we'll put you in with part of the crew. You'll be part of the group and you'll feel wanted. And that's what we see with many evolutionists. We see them basically. And thank you, Conscious Rising. She said, thank you, MD, and everyone for letting me share. I'll be listening. Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure having you on the
Pleasure
stream.
having you on. Great stuff. Hey,
Yeah,
we
we
love
had a
debate
pretty
here.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just, yeah. And White Heat Truth, he brings it out. Evolution is a theory, and a poor one at that. Where's your proof and empirical data of a primordial sludge evolving into a complex creature at? Exactly.
Right. And MD, what would you say to the laws of the second law of thermodynamics that I'll read the definition out here. The state that in any isolated system, the degree of disorder must always increase over time. But they're saying in evolution that it didn't decrease over time, it actually became more ordered. So doesn't that contradict the laws of thermodynamics, the second law?
Yeah, it contradicts that law. And even if that law wasn't there and they say, okay, let's just, because they like to bypass stuff, they'll create lies and scenarios to try to push their religion. But when you look at that, you start to say, okay, entropy is real.
Yeah.
Just observation, even to somebody that isn't a scientist.
That's scientifically proven. Absolutely.
And magically they have some type of it's definitely a mental illness when you think about it. It's a mental illness that's paid for. So they pay to get this, and they get a certificate, just like the Scarecrow going to see the Wizard of Oz. When he has a brain, he's smart, but after indoctrination, he needs the wizard to say, hey, you know what? Here's a piece of paper that says you're smart.
Yeah.
You can't figure that out for yourself. You know, the state has to do that. And the amount of evolution zombies that there are, it's gotten to the point where, well, it's a cult, definitely.
It is. And it's an anti-science cult, obviously, because it goes against science.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually creation that, in response to the second law of thermodynamics, that actually proves more, that's one of the benefit that more sort of steers you towards the idea of creation, that the original creation was a far more superior, healthier, genetically superior creation than what we have today.
It seems to be degrading. I mean, when you look at what these scientists or so-called scientists say, these biologists and all of that. They'll say, look, we have cells and all of this thing and nucleus that self-replicate. Where? In a lab.
Yeah.
In a lab. So everything, and this is something that's easily missed, that if these things, like they're saying, which we can see, can do things in a lab, then it really points toward life being created in a lab.
That's right.
And then after the life was created in laboratory settings to where it can exist outside, then it's released. And this is where the lab, we did a stream on this, lab is ancient lore, the word for garden. A laboratory is a garden. So the lab of Eden is what it's actually called, not the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is a slang. This is where all life seems to be created from, an indoor environment. And something like the human organism, which seems less natural, less adapted than every other animal that we see out there. The human adapted somehow to the surface environment, whether it was released, expelled, or something else. But it wasn't created outside in the dust.
No.
And this is the lie that they try to, can you recreate that? Yeah, in a lab, we can try to recreate that. So it just shows you like, wow. It really shows you like, man, they are grasping at straw. They're scraping the side of the pool, drowning in their own excuses.
Right. And what makes us the most superior, not superior, but the apex predator of this earth? We're not fast. We're not the strongest. We're the apex predator. We can wipe out any animal that exists. They can't
So
stand up to
you know
us.
what can wipe us out, we see, is the microbe.
Okay, that's true. The microbe, yeah.
Yeah, so like you see, like what, and when you look at viruses, they look like they look like programs.
Hmm.
If you really look at viruses and stuff and what they have, like to say, okay, if you look at it in an electron microscope and stuff like that, and try to get, you know, down to the theoretical, some of them are going to be pictures that you add upon and stuff like that. But when you look at it, these things look almost mechanical in nature.
Mm. Oh, I agree. They're designed. For
Yeah, a
sure, they're
cell is
designed.
like an organic factory.
It is. It really is. It's scary, though. I mean, the deeper they look into it, it really looks like a factory, like you just said, with the crane moving and lifting boxes and putting. And then there's like these look like AI robots doing inventory. You know what I mean? Just going around doing inventory on all the boxes.
Very much, man. It's, you know, it's fascinating because the more you study science, like you were saying, the more it diverges away from the religion of evolution, and you
That's
start
right.
to see, like, wow, life is really a mystery. And using logic and reasoning, like the spoon, you find something as simple as a spoon, not even two parts, one single part, and you say, well, that's a sign of somebody making it. Matter of fact, it doesn't even have to be a spoon. It could be a rock that they use to chip other rocks, and they say, oh, look, this is evidence of people chipping
Right.
stuff with a rock, and that's a chipped rock. But a
Hmm.
cell, something like a cell, a nucleus, oh no, no, that formed by accident. That's formed by natural. It's like, so this rock couldn't have chipped by accident. This spoon couldn't have formed by accident, which is much less complex than a
Much
cell.
not even close.
Exactly. So something much more complex, that's where reason comes in and
Hmm.
dispels the lie of evolution.
But
Reason.
even if we're true, let's just say hypothetically that a cell by chance, whatever, started forming. What is it trying to form to? That still implies order and design because there has to be a blueprint of what it's trying to become.
Mhm.
You know, it's what is it evolving to? That implies it's trying to become something.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
know,
that alone shows some type of intelligence there, that
exactly.
it is going for. So many signs of intelligence, camouflage in an animal, a
Hmm.
plant forming to the insect. There's certain plants that only certain insects can pollinate. And they
Yeah.
try to, what do they, again, they'll bring up the lies with the language of evolution. They'll say, oh, that's coevolution. So now, two things, you're looking at super numbers now.
Hmm.
Two things are changing by random mutation and natural selection that matches each other over millions of years.
Hmm.
That's just insane. That, it just shows you that they make up lie after lie after lie
That's
to
right.
push their religion.
That's right. That's right. You know, and like I've asked them before, can you please explain to me how a mindless process produces beings with minds? Because I'm assuming that we can all agree we have minds.
Yeah.
Of course,
Well,
they get smart
yeah.
ass and they say, no, I don't think we all do. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
But
They the consciousness thing, and that's the thing. That's why I don't debate it. I don't, like. There's not much you can say. It's like talking to somebody in a straitjacket right after they took
true.
medication. You're not going to get a coherent conversation out of that person. But
Absolutely not.
yeah, yeah. I think about it, man. It's yeah. It's about 1:46. Yeah, man. This was a good talk. It was great having Conscious Rising on.
Yeah, she was great.
Everybody in the chat, I appreciate all your comments. Uh, Justin, if you have anything,
Oh no, no, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, this was a good episode. I liked it.
yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, as Varun, Conscious Rising, yourself being on here, Mr. X, and everybody in the chat, man. Thanks a lot. We'll stream again. You know, we stream every night. And yeah, talk to you guys soon. Have a great night.
Have a great night, everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you.